Hey Holly, can you hear me? Oh, I cannot hear you.
Is it microwave? Oh my god, you're soaking wet. Okay, what? I very like a bird. Yeah. That's me and mom, but like. Really? It looks like that.
Hey Holly, can you speak to us one more time?
Yes, can you hear me now?
You know, I was
Perfect.
wondering if you can text me the script to be sworn in.
Sure. I actually have, I think, a copy of it. I can screen share it during the swearing in if you'd like.
That's perfect, thank you.
Okay.
I think we might get to that right after appointments and everything, just so everyone's at the table.
Okay.
Okay.
Perfect.
Okay, so this is literally just Iman.
Yes.
Whose backpack is this?
I have no idea.
Okay.
That might be Alexa's. Oh, that one.
That's not Alexa.
Oh, that's Paulus.
This is Paulus?
Yeah.
Where the fuck is he?
You wanna go get this?
Okay,
Yes.
cool. I need the charger. So.
Yeah.
Need it.
No, I have a long. I just don't wanna unplug that. Okay, so it might.
Is everyone is meant to be sworn in?
I think so.
Even after appointment.
All done. I'm really done.
Huh? I got you, it's nice.
Unfortunately. Daddy, Didi, Didi, Didi,
Happy belated.
Thank you. Literally, as soon as my birthday ended, there's so much stuff.
Okay, what the fuck is happening over there?
Also, one of the people is gonna be filming an event. They have her lab, so they'll be done like at least a little in the beginning. They'll be on their place, but they should be here. So,
Yeah.
to be here at 11 o'clock.
Oh, do random shit before I get here, I guess. Where the fuck is Alexa?
Oh. Yes. I'm gonna miss fashion kit. Oh, wow.
Maricela, we have a public forum list. Can someone pass this down to Maricela, please? So I want this shit to do. I really just moved into my fucking apartment. I still have.
But I will be all of spring break. Oh, it is ASA. I'll go with you. I'll go with you. Alright. Cause I don't want them to start feeling. Also.
I don't. Please follow.
No, right.
Oh, never mind.
You're going?
I was so worried. How are you?
He's coming. I put you in the front. Hey, no, I'm not gonna say this.
Wait, I also know, Leah, are you ready?
I always put it up to you.
Yeah, go right.
Okay.
I always put it up to
Yeah,
this.
can you check stand? Stay, char.
It's not.
Sheet.
Hash.
Hash. Nas. Nota.
Yeah. Wait, I'm not used to this. So good.
Wow.
Alright, the volume get started. What'd you say? Can you hear us, Holly?
Holly can hear us.
Yes, can you hear me?
Yeah.
Perfect, thank you.
Alright, y'all. Thanks so much for coming in today. This meeting has been called to order at 6:43 PM in the Flying A room by Internal Vice President Pitu, myself. Sorry, I'm chewing on a fry. I should finish that. All right, before we begin, we call for students to acknowledge that the lands of the University of California locations were built upon, were expropriated, and founded upon exclusions and erasures of indigenous peoples' human rights throughout California. UCSB is built on Chumash land, specifically that of the non-federally recognized Barbareño tribe. As an association that pushes the students' bodies voices to the forefront, we should aim to make strides past just acknowledgement to those who continue to fight for their right to be recognized and respected as the original stewards of this land. I ask you all to dedicate time and care to personal education and to advocate for justice alongside indigenous peoples. Thank you. All right, starting with roll call. Senator Gerson.
Here.
Senator Butler.
Present.
Senator Lakrani. Senator Iden. Senator Lala. Senator Kara.
Present.
Senator Kulu. Corlew. Senator Korsandi.
Present.
Senator Rosillo. Oh, we need to erase Senator Rosillo. Senator Yu. Senator McClintock.
Present.
Senator Martinez. Senator Wang.
Present.
Senator Habas.
Present.
Senator Brinderson.
Present.
Senator Wahidullah.
Present.
Senator Amin.
Here,
Senator Siddiqui. Senator Al Khatib. Senator Ganesh.
Present.
Senator Singh. And the rest is getting sworn in today.
That's one.
All right, first excused absences being, that of Senator Yu. Senator Wang,
Motion to excuse the absence of Senator Yu.
there's been a motion to excuse the absence of Senator Yu. Do we have a second? Senator Ganesh?
Second.
Seconded by Senator Ganesh. We now discussion. Senator Gerson? Question has been called. Do we have any objections?
Consent.
All right, seeing none, motion passes. Senator Lakrani?
Motion to excuse, Senator Habas at 8:30 PM.
There's been a motion to excuse Senator Habas at 8:30 PM. Do we have a second, Senator Ganesh?
Second.
Seconded by Senator Ganesh. We are now in discussion. Senator Wang?
Call the question.
Question has been called. Do we have any objections?
Consent.
Seeing none, motion passes. Senator Lakrani?
Motion to excuse Senator McClintock at 8 PM.
There has been a motion to excuse Senator McClintock at 8 PM. Do we have a second? Senator Ganesh? Seconded by Senator Ganesh. We are now in discussion. Senator Wang?
Call the question.
Question has been called. Do we have any objections?
Consent.
Seeing none, the motion passes. Senator Ganesh?
Motion to excuse Senator Suk at 9:30 PM.
There has been a motion to excuse Senator Suk at 9:30 PM. Y'all, I don't think we would need. Yeah, we would need. We can need quorum. Senator Wang?
Second.
Seconded by Senator Wang. We are now in discussion. Senator Wydula? Question has been called. Do we have any objections?
Consent.
Seeing none, motion passes. Senator Singh?
Motion to excuse, Senator Siddiqui for the rest of the meeting.
I
think it's a proxy. Would you like to rescind your motion?
No.
Okay,
If
Senator Singh?
you have a proxy, doesn't mean you're absent of excused. You still need to be excused from the event.
Period. Thank you for the clarification. There has been a motion to excuse, Senator Singh, Senator Siddiqui for the rest of the meeting. Do we have a second, Senator Al Khatib? Seconded by Senator Al Khatib. We are now in discussion.
We're in a big three.
Yeah,
Does
Senator
he
Gerson?
not, does he not get credit for having a proxy then?
This is a good question. I wish we had a parliamentarian. Yeah, we still haven't accepted the proxy as well. Where's Marcel? Marcel's not even here. Cool.
Guys, where?
Who's around it?
You know what? Order. I'm chair. It's fine. I'm okay with it. Senator Amin?
Are we still, oh, sorry.
Yes, Senator Amin?
Are we still in discussion?
Yes.
To be second?
Yes.
Yes. Yeah, Senator Al Khatib seconded. Senator Butler?
Call the question.
Question has been called. Do we have any objections?
Consent.
All right, seeing none, motion passes to excuse Senator Siddiqui for the rest of the meeting. Senator Butler?
Motion to excuse Senator Iden.
There's been a motion to excuse Senator Iden. Do we have a second? Senator Lankarani?
Second.
Seconded by Senator Lankarani. We're now discussion. Senator Wang?
Call the question.
Question has been called. Do we have any objections?
Consent.
Seeing none, motion passes. Senator Martinez?
Motion to excuse Senator Lankarani after 9:30 p.m.
There's been a motion to excuse Senator Lankarani after 9:30 p.m. Do we have a second? Senator Al-Khatib? Seconded by Senator Al-Khatib. We are now in discussion. Senator Waidullah?
Call the question.
Question has been called. Do we have any objections?
Consent.
Seeing none, motion passes. Do we have any more? Yes, Senator Amin.
Motion to excuse Senator Lala after 8 p.m.
There's been a motion to excuse Senator Lala after 8 p.m. Where, he's not even here.
I think he's on. I really don't.
You think he's on Zoom?
I don't know.
Senator Lala, can you hear us? Are you on Zoom?
He's on his way.
Oh,
When he gets
so,
here.
so you would like to accept his lateness?
Both. I can.
All right, would you like to rescind your original motion, Senator Amin?
Yes.
Okay. Senator Amin?
Motion to excuse and Senator Lala's tardiness and also allow.
Wait,
What? Where do you?
no, that's fine, that's fine.
For him to come at 8 o'clock? Or does he? You can come back later. I'm confused.
He texted us, but we don't know if he means come, like, excuse him.
All right,
until
you'd like to
eight-
rescind your motion?
Yeah, I'm still my.
All right, cool, thank you. We're still in.
Motion to excuse Senator Lala, but like if he shows up, he shows up.
No, would you like to? Yeah, Let's move on. Yeah, we can see later. All right, we're now in acceptance of proxies. Senator Wang?
Motion to bundle accept, well, there's only one part. Motion to accept Noah Lucan for Senator Dan Siddiqui.
There's been a motion to accept Noah Lucan for Senator. Senator Siddiqui's proxy. Do we have a second, Senator Lankarani?
Second.
Seconded by Senator Lankarani. We're in our discussion. Senator Waidullah.
the question.
Question has been called. Do we have any objections?
Consent.
All right, seeing none, motion passes. Let's move out of that, yeah, that was a mess. All right, you want to move into appointments? All right, we are now, Senator Amin. Senator Amin's very, honestly, you took after Lala on that one. He's always doing that. Senator Amin.
I just want to say that I was the first one to invent that.
Right, okay.
Motion to excuse Senator Lala at
Until.
8 p.m.
There's been a motion to excuse Senator Lala until 8 p.m. Do we have a second? Senator Lankarani?
Second.
Seconded by Senator Lankarani. We are now discussing Senator Gerson.
Call the question.
Question has been called. Do we have any objections?
Consent.
Seeing none, motion passes. Senator Ganesh?
I didn't know this, but motion to excuse Senator Kada at 8 p.m.
Dude, we don't need quorum.
8 p.m.
Kada's on Zoom, so you can ask him. We operate by 8.
Whatever, it's fine.
I'm here-
There's been a motion to excuse Senator Kadab post 8 p.m. Do we have a second, Senator Wang?
Second.
Seconded by Senator Wang, we're now in discussion. Senator Amin?
Call the question.
Question has been called. Do we have any objections?
Consent.
Seeing none, motion passes. Y'all, we can't excuse anyone else or else we just have to leave. Just saying. All right, let's move into appointments. Senator Martinez?
Motion to add on the following appointment to the agenda.
There's no
Opportunity and
bills, Which is good, because I didn't even.
Okay, right.
Okay, motion to add on the following appointment to the agenda, outreach committee, Neil Harder as the federal policy and outreach.
There's been a motion to add on, the appointment of Neil Harder as federal policy analyst to the outreach committee. Do we have a second, Senator Al-Khatib?
Second.
Seconded by Senator Al-Khatib for non-discussion, Senator Butler.
Call the question.
Question has been called. Do we have any objections?
Consent.
All right, seeing none, motion passes. And now he's on the agenda, yay. All right, Senator Butler?
Motion to bundle and approve all appointments and resumes.
There's been a motion to bundle and approve all appointments and resignations. Do we have a second, Senator Wang?
Second.
Seconded by Senator Wang. We are now discussing Senator Lankarani.
Call the question.
Question has been called. Do we have any objections?
Consent.
All right, seeing none, motion passes to approve all appointments and resignations on the agenda. Yes,
I would-
Roxy,
Noah.
no, what's your last name?
Luke, I'm sorry.
Lucan.
I would like to object to what we just passed. I apologize for the delay.
Okay,
On behalf of Senator Siddiqui, he would like the Attorney General to give a legal opinion on the appointments for Raices, as it seems there are 3 co-chairs and multiple positions with chair names, which is confusing because according to our legal code, BCUs should only have 1 or 2 co-chairs at maximum. Also, the president has to make sure every chair signs a letter of intent. And we would like to ask if the president has done that for Raices.
so the reason why they're on the agenda is because I looked through and approved. The chair appointments have sent in their letters of recommendation. In terms of chairs, it is not foreign to the association. I'm aware, babe. It is not foreign to the association to have a chair or a leadership position within a specific committee within a VCU. So for example, Raices has specific people designated to advocacy positions, community positions. So maybe that is something that we can revise in their legal code, yes, in participation with liaison committee. So I am objecting your objection essentially.
Okay, so on behalf of Senator Siddiqui, he would like to say that there are 2 external chairs and 1 internal co-chair. And he believes we should wait for Attorney General Carlson to give an opinion for passing the motion.
Why?
And pass it later. Attorney General Carlson is on the way.
Okay,
I'm so excited.
all right, who made the original motion? The bundle letter part? Senator Butler, would you like to rescind your original motion?
No.
No, okay, cool. So now we essentially have
Vote to
to
vote?
vote to pass, this motion.
Point of order.
Yes, point of. Y'all, please, one voice at a fucking time. I'm very exhausted.
It was already passed.
Point of order has been made. Yes,
It was already passed, so we can't object right now. Like it's been passed.
T. That is true. There were no objections in the point of time when an objection was called. So we are moving on. Okay, all right, now moving into action items. Holly, can you please pull up the swearing in?
Yes.
So today we're doing something very special. I'm really excited. Our ad hoc appointments committee has officially appointed our 5 on-campus senators. Very much looking forward to having everyone here. Pretty formal process, but I think that y'all will fit into the association fine. We probably should do it when I come home. Yeah, we'll do it after. Okay. So,
Oh, yeah, no, one at a time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Panel is usually like everyone becoming our.
You said one at a time.
No, he said together.
Like usually together.
Okay, don't talk. We're very, very excited to have you on this association. So we're gonna be swearing on Robert's Rules of Order today. And then you're just gonna repeat after me. It's on the screen in case like y'all have any difficulty. All right, so I, then your name.
Should we all
Yeah.
say together? I, Nyla Valley,
Hereby affirm that I will fulfill the duties
hereby affirm that I will fulfill the duties
of the on-campus senator position for the rest of the 2024-2025 academic year.
of the on-campus senator position for the
2024-2025 academic
year.
To the best of my ability.
To the best of my ability,
I will seek to facilitate
I will seek to facilitate
the associated students
the associated students
and the university community in a manner that is consistent with the ideals of an academic community.
and the university community in a manner that is consistent with the ideals of an academic community.
All right, thank you. Want to settle in?
There's seats over here, over here, over here.
Yeah.
You probably won't get, a name tag this year.
Girl, don't say that to me.
My part.
Thank you, thank you.
There's two, wait, if you just sit there.
Can I do that?
Can I sit there?
Yeah.
Just kidding, this. Camilla, Leah, nice.
Leah, nice.
Yeah.
I think
All right. All right, everyone. We're moving out of action items. Yeah. They didn't officially. All right, Senator Martinez?
Motion to close the meeting, the Senate meeting, from 1/29/25. Officially close it. To adjourn the meeting. Motion to officially adjourn the Senate meeting on Wednesday, 1/29/2025. At, whatever time we close. I think it was around 1:30.
All right, there's been a motion to
Do you have the agenda?
officially adjourn the 1/29/25 meeting at 1:30 a.m. on 1/30/20. Sorry, it's the next day, so it's a little bit complicated. Do we have a second? Senator Sue? Seconded by Senator Sue. We are now in discussion. Senator Wang?
call the question.
Question has been called. Do we have any objections? We sure about the consent? Right, okay. Thank you, y'all. Apparently, it was not written down. Legal reasons. Happy we adjourned. That was a very long meeting. I was there the whole time. All right, now moving back into action items. The second line item being a $2,800 request for the Rules and Admin Committee's honoraria that would be coming from the Senate Leadership Fund. It's your request. Would the chair, right? Would the chair or vice chair of the Rules and Admin Committee like to speak a little bit more on this request?
Yeah, clarifying, I'd like to clarify the request. What sum is it again?
It is one request for 2,800 and another for 1,000, but that's for your, one is for the committee and the other one is for your office.
Yeah, I have. Commission Chair. I have 2,800 to pay in honoraria for my research associates.
Yes.
That is for the students who are conducting like the water quality tests. We have crime logs going back to 2018 now for ID Foot Patrol, UCPD, et cetera. We're collating all of that information into the spreadsheets. Those students, I think, warrant, their workload warrants honoraria. So that's where the 2,800 comes from. The $1,000 is in it's for operational expenses relating to either like requisitioning test kits, whether it be for office supplies, just a bunch, because the AG's office wasn't awarded anything last year for the budget. So our budget was strictly for honoraria only.
Yeah.
So I'm just hoping that would like cover us for the year. I am going around BCUs though, asking for like funding requests for various other things. So like IBTU, I think is the one thing that I've made for like all of the old kits, radon kits, water test kits, et cetera. Working together with other boards, potentially the Parallel Center and IBCRC to do more outward community facing stuff. So I'm trying to keep it like cordoned off by impact area. But for this specifically, I was hoping just to get that stuff for the office, not rules committee specific. Is rules committee supposed to be getting honoraria? I didn't think they were. So I just I recommended the appointments of people that I already work with so that I can get it done.
So this, to clarify, this 2,800 would be for your office, or this would be?
The
for
office of the
the
Attorney
committee?
General, that's correct.
Oh, so the 2,800 would be for your office,
Correct.
and the 1,000 would be for the rules and admin?
For everything that we see fit, rules and admin or office of Attorney General projects, related expenses, things like that. It was for operations.
So it's turned around. It's like switched,
In a way, yes.
like one should be for one and one should be for the other.
I would hope to keep it kind of relatively undesignated, for obvious reasons. The $1,000, if you would like, you can put that in Rules Committee. I would appreciate both in the Office of the Attorney General.
Okay. Okay. Would someone,
3,800.
so it'd be 3,800 total for the Office of the Attorney General
That's correct.
operating expenses.
Beautiful. And honoraria if you want. And I'll just deduct whatever out.
All right, can you write that so then? we can-
And if I may, Chair.
Thank you for the explanation. Where are these kits available? The mold and other testing kits that you mentioned? Are these available for the
The
students or?
The EDPLA is acquiring 500 mold test kits.
Mhm.
We will be acquiring, I believe, 20 water test kits and 20 radon test kits.
Okay,
The idea was that everybody would be able to sample them and we would be able to say, out of this production, X amount tested positive for some sufficient concentration of radon that is below the county safety requirement limit, whatever,
who is conducting these tests?
the Office of Attorney General.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
That was pretty much it.
We're doing it ourselves.
Yes, Sir Ganesh?
What is the breakdown for the 2,800? It's like 90 to 300. Like, what is the breakdown for the honoraria for the?
I think it should be 4 times 2 times 300, but that's not right.
Because if it's 9 people, it'd be like
Might be 20.
2,700.
That's why I.
So there's 100. And you're saying is 1%.
I don't think so. Let me double check that really quick,
So.
because I made this funding request through an email to Senate leadership.
Okay, I just want to clarify one more time.
Yeah, please.
Just because in our legal code, it does state that, the rules and admin committee honoraria would be coming from the Senate Leadership Fund. That's why I broke it down the way that I did.
Be totally on the, on the record. I have no. I personally think the burden of rules committee is relatively easy.
Yeah.
And I don't think I don't think we will need to pull into the honorarium there. I will, if you guys are comfortable, I can obviously open that up to my research associates who will be helping with workload. It's just then, at that point, they might be quote unquote double dipping.
Right,
And so that's where I'm just like, I'm fine without the honoraria for rules committee. I'm fine with just Office of Attorney General honoraria. We'll go from there.
period.
Is the Civil Society project on the agenda today?
Civil?
Yeah. Because there were some ideas about like including more funding opportunities for students who might be interested in doing more research handling reports. And that was the idea behind, like, instead of doing it rules committee specific, we could move a lot of that money awarding to students for services they provide or services rendered offhand into a more succinct thing. So
When was this sent to me?
I was just wondering if it would be pulled from committee. Perfect. That's good.
Okay,
I don't need, I don't want it today.
Okay, does anyone have any more questions? All right, I think we're good.
Chair, if I may,
Yeah.
I don't plan on staying all night.
Uh-huh.
'Cause I do some work. How soon will we get to, cabinet reports?
We can do that next.
Maybe new business, and I'd love to hear these guys first, and then I don't mind going up after them. That's okay.
Period.
Thank you so much, Chair.
Yeah. Maybe this. But. No, I'm serving it's fine.
I think there's just, I think maybe. Maybe. No, they know they're just here to, they don't want to take notes, they don't want to be here. Yeah.
By the way.
I know.
But I don't like. Oh, I think.
I made these. for-
The 2006.
Guys.
I don't know.
It doesn't.
Yeah.
Yeah. We're just trying to figure out, the logistics in terms of where to allocate funding for this, specific motion, so just give us a second. Sorry. No second? Can you flip it off? Alright, Executive Director Marquez. Can you please clarify, where we could find information on the Senate Leadership Fund, if there still is one, because it was in the legal code.
My understanding of the leadership fund is, it's used for retreats or events of that sort, that involve the entire student body. When, for example, the Senate has like a town hall or something that engages the entire campus, that's what that fund is typically used for. I mean, the chair of the finance committee might have some additional information about where those particular categories that you all are treating should come from, but I think it's fine either way. I think that honoraria typically comes on allocated.
Okay. I mean, when I read the whole thing, that's the usual sign, but it's fine. Senator Singh?
I do find the description of the fund, I cannot find how much money is allocated. There. I don't know how much money is actually allocated into that fund.
I don't have that, I don't have that.
But it's not on the budget from last year either, so I can't find it on my meeting code.
Alright, I think we should just like pull it from unallocated then, is that chill?
Yeah, an allocated has about,
Oh, yes, Executive Director Marquez.
On an annual basis, it's between 50 and 65,000, but I don't have the amount if the chair needs it in terms of where it is. AS1 is also funded out of it because it's your annual.
Right. Oh, yes, Senator Singh?
an allocated has about 60K.
Okay, alright, Senator Butler?
Motion to allocate $2,800 for the Office of the Attorney General's operations, expenses and honoraria from Senate unallocated.
All right, there's been a motion to allocate $3,800 for the Office of the AG's operation expenses and honoraria from Senate allocated. Do we have a second, Senator Whitehula?
Second.
Seconded by Senator Whitehula. We're now discussion. Senator Lankarani? Oh. Sorry. Do you have a point of order?
I have to comment.
Okay, yeah, we're on discussion. Senator Singh?
Don't we usually table, funding requests for a week in December and then consider the next week?
No.
That-
That's only a bill for any type of motion where we accept money, we vote on it, like hand vote.
Yes, but if I remember correctly, last quarter we had the office of the student advocate come in and we had them tabled for a week and then them next meeting. Same thing for GFIP, where we waited a week, tabled them for next week, and then we passed them on for them. Isn't that, not sure if that is the accepted practice, or it's just what we did? I just wanted to inquire more about that.
Can someone pull up the same rules?
Seems-
Yes, Mary?
If I remember correctly, the GFIP was tabled a week because we felt that it hadn't been fleshed out enough. I don't know about the other one.
Yes, Senator Singh?
Right, the point of tabling for a week is so we can get more information and actually know everything about it and actually consider it, like how we do for Bill as well.
I mean, considering that AG Carlson just gave us a very robust explanation of what he plans on doing with this fund, I feel like it's appropriate to vote on it now. Would you like to table it?
It's Senate's wish, I'm just,
Table it? Okay,
that's how we usually do it.
okay, period. All right, Senator Butler, would you like to rescind your motion?
Yeah.
All right, motion has been rescinded. Cool, right. So we're still in discussion. Well, I guess we're not in discussion.
Well,
We're still
we don't have
on
to
this
make a
action
motion.
item.
We don't have to.
All right. Senator Singh?
Motion to table the Office of Attorney General requesting 3,800 from Senate and House.
All right, there's been a motion to table, the Office of AG's request for $3,800. For operational expenses and honoraria from Senate unallocated. Do we have a second? Senator Whitehula?
Second.
Seconded by Senator Whitehula. We're now discussion. Senator Ronnie? Questions, Nicole, do we have any objections?
Consent.
All right, let's move on, shall we? All right, now going into unit reports. I call first Abby Coleman from the Strategic Operations Office.
And.
And team.
Yeah,
And friends, yeah.
I sent the leadership PowerPoint, and I sent it to Holly.
Holly, can you please pull up that PowerPoint?
Yes, give me like 10 seconds.
Yeah. Got it. I'm sending you all the notifications. Yeah, that's
Yeah.
great.
Can you all see this okay?
Okay, so hi, everyone. It's good to see your faces and everything. My name is Abby Coleman. I'm the Chief Operations Officer for IS, and this is the Strategic Operations Office right here behind me. You guys, Jesse, you want to just say your name?
Okay, hi, I'm Nelsie.
Hi, I'm Nada.
I'm Raghu.
I'm Anu. I'm Lena.
I'm Jeffrey.
I'm Nina. So this is everyone, and we have been working, as you guys may know, the Strategic Operations Office assesses and execute the goals within the strategic vision plan. I highly recommend reading the strategic vision plan or just familiarizing yourselves with the goals. There are 29 goals, so please take a look at that. You can find it on ASUCSB website and then in the governing documents. It's right, or documents, and then right below it's just student strategic. And so one of our goals and tasks for our office is to create a new strategic vision plan every 3 to 5 years. The last one was created and like published in 2021, and so now technically 2020, but end of 2021 school year. And now is the time to create a new one. And so, yeah, you can head to the next slide. Polly, thank you. So just for the overview of this presentation, what is the strategic vision plan? I know, especially with some new senators here tonight, just an overview. The consulting firms we considered, the recommendations and next steps we have, and a Q&A from everyone, because we know that there's likely going to be some questions, and just a discussion with everybody. So if you would, perfect. One more, perfect. So the strategic vision plan, it has 29 strategic vision goals, and it's kind of small up on the screen up there, but if you open the PowerPoint, you can read what each goal just is. Yeah, perfect. Just a small excerpt of what each goal is. And so throughout these years, we have been assessing each goal and assessing different entities within the association of how to create these goals and make sure they are executed to the extent we are hoping for. The original strategic vision plan was created by Jonathan Aboud in 2014. He was inspired by the University of Sussex, actually. I was recently talking to him this past weekend about this and got some more insight. Watuga Consulting has been the consulting firm that we have worked with for the past 2 strategic vision plans, so for about 8 to 10 years now. We have been working with them and led by Elise Dale, Wyatt Dale, and also Jean Subin, part of the time. So as we've partnered with Watuga Consulting, they help come up with the majority of the vision plan. They help with the focus group surveys, how to get these goals and create them into what we want. And the strategic vision plan is like almost a 250-page document. So they are responsible for creating and basically explaining our goals, but creating that document. A little bit about our office is internally. So I said we execute and assess the 28 strategic vision goals of AS. So that's how we're outcome based, is we're executing these goals, like for example, with our iPods for Equity project. We're also process oriented. We assess the goals, and then in the implementation stage, that is creating the new strategic vision. So that's a little bit about us. If you'd like to go to the next slide, a little bit more information about the previous vision plan. So how the data was collected is it was a campus-wide survey. There was a town hall, focus groups, and faculty and staff surveys and conversations were given and provided. And you can read all about this in every survey response, every town hall, I don't think the staff responses are in there for anonymity purposes, but all of this information is in the strategic vision plan, if you are curious. But we want basically to ensure that the data is comprehensible, inclusive, and accurate, an accurate vision of what the student body wants to be represented within the association. So the pricing for the previous strategic vision plan was, the proposed cost was between $49,000 and $70,000. And the actual cost, what AS was billed, what AS was billed was $79,700. In 2021, we were billed that. And the timeline for the creation of this was about 5-6 months, January to May of 2021. And so in the process of creating the new strategic vision plan, as we know, this is a lot of money. And so we wanted to make sure that the consulting firm that we worked with was the best and most accurate, with the best product that we would be given for what the association needs and the students want to see from the association. So we met with multiple consulting firms and narrowed it down to 3 consulting firms and met with them multiple times to determine the best fit for the association, and also in order to get the best product out of the consulting firm. Lena, do you want to share a little bit about what we consider?
If you don't mind going to over 2 slides, I believe. Yeah. Just into the overview of the firms we consider. So we have 3 main consulting firms that we consider. The top one being like Watuga, the one that we've used the past 2 vision plans. This is a consulting firm led by a team of 2 individuals, Jean Supin and Elise Dale. It's a very small firm based in North Carolina. Jean's there, and then Santa Barbara because Elise is here, but Elise will not be working with us as she has another job and project. So it will be led by Jean and Wyatt this time around. We've worked with them previously, so we know that the product is reliable and known. The next group we met with was Next Gen Consulting, which is actually a student-run consulting organization based at UC Berkeley with about 30 undergraduate members. And they have experience with startups, private businesses, nonprofits, large Fortune 500 companies, and then offer many services pertaining more so towards financial modeling and analysis, strategy, and business development. And the last one we met with was Credo, which offers strategic and campus planning services and specializes in working with students and universities in particular. It's a smaller firm with about 40 employees, and they work with about 100 affiliates. And they aim to create actionable, measurable, and impactful vision plans specifically. And they've emphasized the importance of community focus and student voices. So we definitely met with them all several times, kind of got their takeaways and what their visions were for the specific plan. And we'd love to kind of dive deep into the factors.
Yeah, thank you, Leah. And each of these consulting firms gave us a proposal, a proposed plan, and also a proposed budget. And so that's what we were going to share. So first, Watuga Consulting, Raghav and Dana.
Yeah, so as Nina mentioned, this is the consulting firm that we went with the last two strategic plans. In 2020, they charged us about $80,000. But our new estimate was around $145,000, which is nearly double. Just kind of breaking down the prices a little bit. They're charging us $12,000 for 4 on-site days. About $300 per hour, which means $150 per person. We're going to be working with a 2-person team.
Yeah, and that kind of goes into the next point, which is their limited expertise, as well as lack of transparency. So as you can see in the slides, Watuga does not work with other institutions on a consistent basis. And this is something that definitely stood out to us as we look towards consulting firms to consider. In addition, compared to the other 2 consulting firms that we will mention, this will only be a team of 2 consultants, whereas as you probably hear later on, we'll work with larger teams with the other potential firms. And lastly was just the lack of ability to provide credentials for some of the consultants that would be on the project. And something to note is that their quoted price will be $145,000. We can kind of move on to the next one.
Yeah, that's perfect. Thank you. So Next Gen Consulting is the next firm we met with. Nina, Jeff.
Okay, yeah, Next Gen, again, they are the student-run organization outside of, or within UC Berkeley. And if we worked with them, they would give us multiple project teams, about 2 project managers and 5 to 6 analysts. And then they would dedicate a minimum of 1,000 hours per project over their semester. This is the cheapest option. It's $20K to $25K if you were to work with them, Jeff.
Yeah. So as noted, this is the cheapest option at $20,000 to $25,000. We do have a few caveats as to maybe some hesitation in working with this organization. First and foremost, the group has never actually worked on a university strategic vision plan. So this kind of gives us a gamble where we might work with them, receive unsatisfactory work, and then potentially lose those $20,000 or $25,000 when we have to come back to square one and choose another consulting group to work with. On top of that, Next Gen consists of mostly second-year students at UC Berkeley. So yeah, second-year undergraduate students at UC Berkeley. So from our perspective, it could be somewhat comparable to other on-campus consulting groups such as 180 Degrees Consulting and Gotcha Creative.
And then Jesse and you. So, could you go to the next slide? So the next one we looked at is Credo Consulting. Yeah, right. So Credo Consulting is the 3rd firm we looked at, and Credo's providing us with a 4-person team, including a lead consultant from their strategy team, and there's going to be multiple associate consultants that we work with, and a project manager. And they follow a more organized process of there's like strategic alignment, strategic building, and then strategic action.
And they quoted us a larger range of 75K to 110, and Jesse will go on.
Yeah, so Credo submitted a draft proposal for us, and one thing that we noticed from the proposal is that it is really comprehensive. And it includes a lot of things that align with AS and also our vision. Some of these things that they include focus groups, community seminars, town hall community day, a strategy map, and also different tracking tools, so we could track how well the strategic vision plan is going throughout the 3 to 5 years that we use it. And like Anu mentioned, this was kind of like, they quoted us 75 to 110K, which is in between the other two consulting firms. But based on their proposal, we're really satisfied with how comprehensive it was and how it matched AS's values.
Thank you. It's also worth noting that they are a very credentialed team with PhDs in strategic planning and consulting. So, and therefore, for our recommendation and our next steps, if you wanna say, this is our recommendation, is that we work with Credo.
Yeah, so just to kind of go over everything, after a comprehensive comparison between the three consulting companies, we recommend Credo Consulting as our top choice. Because despite the higher cost, we believe this is a reasonable budget for the strategic vision plan, as we paid about $80,000 5 years ago. And we also believe that their firm is most reputable and will give us the best product with the professionals that we work with. And they do want to partner with ASCCSB and our strategic vision planning team to create a comprehensive and tangible vision plan for the next 5 years from 2025 to 2029. So kind of getting into the phases that they've proposed as Anu kind of touched on regarding strategic visioning, strategic build, and strategic action. That's kind of what we'll work with them across the next 6 months on. And then each phase has multiple deliverables to ensure that the new plan is reviewed by the committee, finalized and completed by the end of this school year, so June 2025. And we included a little example. They've worked with a lot of higher education, which is why we believe they're most reputable. So this is McAllister. They kind of went into curriculum, culture, campus, so we think they can really touch on everything in their vision plan. So
yeah, thank you. Something also to think about with Credo is that, well, we have met with them a lot of times, and they have also worked with other UCs, UCSF and UC Santa Cruz. So we know, and we have seen, and it's linked in the presentation as well, but you can click on the different examples that they have given us regarding their proposals and their strategic vision plans. So with that, we have been in communication with President Broadway about where the best place, because we do recognize that this is a lot of money, but it's a lot of money for the entire student body. It is what the students want and how they get their voices heard in the association. So it's an extremely important document and vision plan for the next 3 to 5 years. With that being said, during our conversations with President Broadway, we did get some ideas of where to get the money from, and President Broadway suggested the AS Reserves Fund because it is that big amount. Other than that, we would love to open it up for questions. Yeah, thank you guys.
No, thank you. All right, just before we go into everyone's questions, I wanted to ask, when do we receive like a final quote? Is this when they completely finish, or would this be before we dedicate this specific firm?
Yeah, so Credo has explained to us a lot of times that when we give them, this is just the range that they quoted us. If we give them a set number, like, we can only work with $80,000, then they will not exceed that $80,000, and they will go below that amount. So timing wise, we can also get billed in like chunks or during different stages. And so it wouldn't be all at once. With that being said, there would be a cap. So our final bill is whatever, like our final amount that for budget is frankly whatever we all decide, whatever you guys decide. So that would be the time.
All right, now opening up to everyone's questions. Senator Singh?
First off, thank you for coming. Great presentation. I really like it. Just going through the Grado draft plan. I see under implementation support, that's only 6 months. So after the 6 months, are there any follow-up support after that? or-
Yeah, there is. That's a great question. Thank you. So Credo, which is different than the other two consulting firms, I just will note. Because if we choose to work with their tracking software and tracking tools, they will actually help us for, however long we want practically to help track those goals, throughout the 3 to 5 years. So it's kind of up to us if we want to keep working with them, but establishing a relationship already with them, and they have expressed that within the previous strategic vision plans that they have done, they have kept in contact and consistently kept, they're doing their work as the time goes on. Especially because it is that 3 to 5 years, that's kind of a big chunk of time. It's good to, maintain that contact and have their services as well.
Yes, Senator Singh?
I also see that there's 3 different phases for the deliverables and the outcomes. Are there any specific timeframes for each phase?
Yeah, great question as well. So the previous strategic vision plan took, as I said a little bit ago, about 6 months. And so while we don't have a specific month by month plan, because we want to make sure that previously the budget had been approved 5 years ago, it had been approved last week, if that makes sense. So we are on the right timeline. We should be finished around May or June, early June, late May. Other than that, we should have each different stage should take about 2 months.
Yes, Senator Singh?
I also see there's some mentions of KPIs. Is there any information?
I am not sure.
Sorry, in what slide? Is it on there?
It's on the draft vision plan.
I think that's kind of in regards to their tracking tools. I'm not completely sure, but this was just a draft proposal that they sent us, so in our next meeting, we can definitely bring that up to them if that's something that people are interested about or wanting to hear more about, but I'm pretty sure it's like in regards to the tracking tools that they would give us.
Yes, Senator Corsani?
I want to say thank you for putting this together. It's nice to see you. My question is about the price range. So what differs in their, like how the consulting
Yeah.
firm is gonna act
Great question.
depending on the price? Like what's the-
Yeah, the reason the price is, the maximum is $110,000 is if they come for on-site things. If we wanted the full package, we want them to be there here for multiple days, it'd be closer to 110,000. On-site days and also some of the tracking software is more expensive, if we wanted to do that long-term. With that being said, if we wanted the minimum, of what they think we could do, like with all of the information that we have already and, like giving us the product that we want, like the basic product, that's $75,000 is what they have estimated. But it could also be less, in all honesty. But the $110,000 is if we wanted like the full package. And personally, I don't think we need the full package. I would think, I would maybe do a buffer, a little higher than $75,000, just in case we have any mishaps or anything. But I do really, we told him that we're not interested in on-site days because he's based in, whatever, Texas or Michigan. So it would be a flight, like something that we're not interested in doing, plus we meet on Zoom is so easy nowadays that we're not interested in that. So that 10 it would not go, which I would assume it would be maximum $85,000.
All right, Senator Wayne?
Do you know if any of the tracking tools would involve usage of AI?
I don't know. I don't think so because they've been using it for the same tracking tools for many years now. And considering AI is more, I realize that AI has been around, but more like recent usage and uptick in usage, I don't believe so. He also did not mention that, so I would be surprised if it was.
Yes, sir.
Just to follow up, could you make sure to ask?
Ask that, yeah. Can I ask, what are you, is it not interested in AI? Or interested in AI?
Sarah.
I would prefer for there to not be AI
Perfect.
personally.
Yeah, I think we could all agree for that as well.
Okay. Senator Singh?
Just have another question. Under strategic action, I see there's two options. Is there any option that you guys are particularly leaning towards or?
That is a good question. This would be, we would be doing option one, the virtual implementation, because it's cheaper, frankly.
All right, Senator Singh?
Just a comment, not a question. I think using the Senate undesignated fund rather than the reserves fund would be the most appropriate for this. Thank you.
All right, thank you. Senator Sandy?
I had a follow-up question about like the on-site, just like the pricing.
Yeah.
So based on your recommendation, would you say that it's important to have the additional technology that they want to add on to the?
Yeah, that's a good question. I am not super familiar with the technology, and that's also something that if we were to work with them, we'd learn more about. With that being said, on-site days, in that sense, we don't think they're necessary because we do have a great team behind us that can provide for those on-site days. In a sense, he kind of means like, he called it a community day, which it sounds great, and we have looked at the different previous community days that Credo has done. They look great, but it's because it's so student oriented, we think that we would be able to do that. Technology wise, he said there's kind of a range of like what technology we can use, or that is available to us with a higher price. It's more up to your guys' discretion of what technology we can use for what price. Again, the base level, $75,000, that would be the basic technology. If we were to go higher, there would be, better technology, if that makes sense. But it wouldn't, the $75,000 is not getting us nothing, if that makes sense. There is the technology, it's just a range.
Senator Singh?
Sorry, another question. How much do you think we should spend on this?
That's a great question. Personally, so I think $75,000, it is a lot of money and I fully recognize that. Because we spent $79,000  5 years ago, I do believe that, there could be some room for adjustment there. My personal idea was to spend around $85,000 to $90,000 on this project.
Yes, Senator Person?
Thank you so much for coming, all of you. Also more to that question, just like adding on, so would your ideal be to pass just 75,000 right now, and then if you need more later, you guys can kind of like see and ask for more? Or is it something that you just pass once and?
That's a good question. I honestly have not thought about that, of doing it in two separate ideas of doing 75,000 and then adding more later. I think that could, I think.
Yes, Senator Person?
Yeah, I don't know if I can talk back and forth, that's why, just to be recognized.
Oh, okay.
And I just thought in a sense of, like, instead of passing more money and then you guys just having kind of like an excess money that you're not.
Well, it would just go back to you guys. So. I don't, if we just don't, I mean, we're just taking from this unallocated fund, if I'm wrong, correct me. Then if it's not going into our account, I don't believe, I think it's going straight from the Senate unallocated, so whatever we're billed is just straight. Or reserves, whatever we choose, but I think it wouldn't just stay in our account, I think it would go back to you guys. So I don't really know if it necessarily matters, but I'm happy if you guys are interested in doing the $75,000 a one-time thing, and then if we need more later, I'm honestly happy with either option. I hope that answers your question.
Yeah.
Okay.
Senator Ganesh?
This is really new and unfortunate actually. In the strategic vision plan proposal, there's a lot of language of DEI. And when they the lawyer, if you these policies, just ask them to bring that language up. Because we don't know what we.
Okay, yeah,
Decided on it,
okay,
so just.
yeah, that is
Don't have
unfortunate.
that language.
All right, okay, thank you for that. I appreciate your concern there. Yeah, can I ask a question about that?
Yeah,
If they don't want to take that out because of their company policy? I understand your guys' concern here, because I understand.
We would be the client.
Yeah.
And they are delivering to us, and they deliver what we ask.
Okay.
They can, I'm not,
Yeah.
we're the ones subject to getting sued.
as
We're
a,
paying them money, they're answering.
as a private company, they're allowed to have those policies, but because we're a public university, that we can't necessarily be addressing that. Does
Okay,
that make sense?
yeah, yes.
Yes,
It
so they can
definitely
keep
makes
those
sense.
policies, but in terms of like the back and forth communication and like their. What they deliver to us, that language can't be in there.
Okay, yeah,
That's-
I understand.
Um,
Yeah, unfortunate.
Yeah, until we have more clarity. I did want to ask, I saw that a lot of the like missions and like projects were like very specific to specific. Oh my God, very specific to very specific. Specific to certain missions of, departments on campus.
Mhm.
I was wondering what that communication looks like.
Or what, are you saying like in Credo or just our office communication with different areas?
In terms of your office and communication with BCUs or like departments to understand like what we are moving towards, like how is that? How is that decided?
Yeah,
essentially?
that is a great question. So, I answered that in a twofold. First, previously, what we've done is, as we are assessing the goals, we reach out to related VCUs that are working to meet those goals.
Okay.
So, for example, we have just sustainability on campus or composting projects on campus. We have reached out and been in communication and worked with, assessed Department of Public Works, and AS Recycling as, and other VCUs like Environmental Justice Alliance. So that's kind of where we go from there. We kind of focus on the goal, then reach out to different VCUs and entities. For the future about the strategic vision plan with the, to get the word out that we are creating this new strategic vision plan and to make sure the goals and vision of different VCUs and entities in the association, to make sure their point of view is heard. We will be sending out an email. I know that's not a lot, but we also are going to be doing focus groups, the surveys, town hall, and anything else that you guys may have an input on. We also have the strategic vision planning committee, which will be, an email will be sent to those who have demonstrated interest previously regarding that. And then IVP Pinzo, you are automatically invited because you are AS exec. So all as AS exec, our office, and then I believe it's Senator Iden, Senator, I'm so sorry, your last name, but Leah, and Senator Siddiqui. Those are the people that expressed interest, and Leah is our liaison. So that is the three senators that we will have on the strategic vision planning committee. But after we decide the consulting firm, we will then meet either bi-weekly or monthly, depending on the needs. And-
Alright. Sounds great. Does anyone have any more questions? On Zoom, does anyone have questions? I'm gonna give them a minute.
I'm good, no questions, but thank you for the report. It was very informative.
Thank you. Thank you guys for giving us the time. I'm glad this all happened. Thank you.
Of course. Yes, sir, saying?
The presentation be added to the agenda.
Yes. Next report will be for KCSB. You'll have the floor whenever you're ready.
Thank you guys for,
You can speak into the microphone also. You can just lower it. Yeah, it moves.
okay. Thank you all for allowing us to be here. We have an activity report for you all. We have not been in a while. So we would like to catch you up on our happenings at the station so far. And then at the end, I do have a brief question about fee increase processes, just for sake of transparency. That will be at the very end. But I would like to start with a quick, if that's all right. Okay. I'm Nyla Irfan, KCSB's General Manager for the 24-25 academic year. I'd like to share an overview of our operations as a media entity and go over some outreach and events we did this past fall quarter. For some basic history, KCSB was established in 1962 as a low-power FM station. We are the first UC radio station. In 1964, we became officially licensed by the FCC as a non-commercial educational licensee. Today, we have a broadcast range spanning 75 miles up each direction, with over 100 volunteer programmers producing live content on the air 24/7. We serve the student body in a number of ways. Our main purpose as a station is to train future communicators in broadcast media. Our training station, KJUICE, receives anywhere from 70 to 90 applicants each quarter, which we then narrow down to about 30 students per training quarter. This 8-week program teaches students the ins and outs of radio broadcasting, from content and legal training to how to operate the board in studio and edit remote shows. Each quarter, we host an orientation with about 90 students present, where every department talks about the various ways people can get involved. KCSB News welcomes new reporters each quarter, no experience necessary, and walks them step by step through journalistic ethics, best practices for conducting interviews, and media literacy, to name a few things. Each quarter, we have about 15 reporters get involved with the station. Our sports department covers local games year-round, giving volunteers training on how to set up equipment, mics, and the broadcast stream. These volunteers then go on to call games and learn the art of sports broadcasting, with about 30 volunteers at any given moment. We've had many of these volunteers go on to run our departments and get jobs in the media based on their experience here. Our news director from the 22-23 school year, Jackie Sedley, now runs the news department at KGNU in Boulder, Colorado. Oscar Garcia, who was the sports director at KCSB, is now the editor for the sports department at the New York Times and runs their athletic website, amongst many others. Our music department hosts 2 low commitment club meetings each week, one being the music review committee, where students get to learn about music journalism and gain a shared media literacy around music criticism and appreciation, with at least 30 students showing up each week to learn and discuss various music topics. They also host a library committee meeting where students learn about cataloging, tagging, and sorting the physical media we have in KCSB's own music library. We also offer an assistant music director internship on a quarterly basis, where 2 student volunteers get to work with our student staff on outreach to record labels, talking to promoters, and a more in-depth training on music journalism for KCSB's website. Our publicity department provides many opportunities as well, from tabling to covering concerts and festivals with press passes for the station. Our student volunteers have many ways of getting involved in different aspects of media production. Our blog is open for all students to submit their writing, whether it be album reviews or a story on festival coverage. There are many avenues for the student body to take. Each of our 14 executive committee members interacts with a large number of students through these various avenues. All of these departments, through staffers and volunteers, work together to engage our student body and the larger 805 community with various live events. In the fall quarter, we hosted the UC Radio Network Conference. This is an annual event that KCSB was happy to host at the UCSB campus this year. This conference was put together by students, for students, with many student-led panels, workshops, and discussion about fundraising, news broadcasting, and overall media literacy training. Here, college radio stations from all over the state of California, UC schools, and others came together to share best practices and ideas for the new year. This event is open to all KCSB volunteers, staffers, and programmers. However, this year we did collaborate with AS Program Board in order to open up our keynote speaker, Ernesto Aguilar, Executive Director of Programming at KQED in San Francisco, to the entire student body. We also had a film screening on the history of college radio that was also open to the public. KCSB News also held a 2-day event in October around a documentary film called Gaza's Our Home. We brought Palestinian American filmmaker Monir Shayar to the UCSB campus to screen his documentary to the UCSB student body. On night one, this documentary showed clips from his last trip to Gaza back in the late 2010s and interviews with his family members about the impact of the ongoing genocide. On night two, Monir opened a public forum for attendees to talk and meet with some of his family members currently living in Gaza. This event was open to all students and community members as a way to humanize the Palestinian people for an American audience and to spark discussion amongst the student body in a respectful, moderated manner. This was done in collaboration with AS Program Board, Students for Justice in Palestine, and Jewish Voices for Peace, amongst other campus organizations. Vice Chancellor Margaret Fawood and former director of the MCC, Zabini Marcus, were both in attendance and expressed their gratitude for this community dialogue. This is just the tip of the iceberg. KCSB does many co-sponsorships with local venues and promoters such as Golden Voice and Folkia to provide free on-air giveaways for students to call in and receive tickets to various shows in the area. We do these multiple times per week. I believe we are an essential communication service during times of emergency. With our 24/7 programming, we're able to give live updates with information, evacuation orders, etc. We have done this in the recent year with our flood warnings and fire updates. KCSB and broadcast radio in general provide a reliable source of information when cell towers are on fire or otherwise disabled. Radio continues to be the most reliable broadcast service in an emergency. And then this next part will get into a little bit about my questions with fee increase. So even though we've been operating at a deficit for many years, KCSB provides a vital service to the student body and larger community as a whole through its various open access training programs, live community events, and breaking news coverage. We've been able to cover that deficit because of the rollover accumulated before the pandemic. However, this rollover is now spent. For this reason, we would like to go for a modest fee increase that will raise our budget to what we actually need to continue base operations. And my question for the Senate is, who would I follow up with about getting that on the Senate agenda for approval, as we did miss the deadline for the application by a week, so now it does have to be approved by a Senate vote, I believe. So I just wanted to see who I would follow up with about that.
That would be yes. If the executive director would like to chime in.
Can I ask a clarification on this too?
Yes, Attorney General Carlson.
So the direct question is, what, how would you do this? Right, so the elections chair is sitting right here.
Yep.
And you're also about to be engaged in an annual budgetary process. So so it would depend on what kind of categories and what kind of funding you need. So it's about the increase in the lock-in that's going to be voted upon, and that is an election forward question, a kind of question. If there are there's like a new category that you want to create in your budget, and or a new responsibility or an old responsibility that needs to be funding, et cetera, then that would be in the budget. If it's a personnel item, then you would bring it to your career staff and to me, and I would put it into the staff line for the budget that's presented to finance committee, to the Senate, and to the President. I don't know if that's a lot, but just let me know what kind of funds you need, and then we'll connect that.
May I ask a question?
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay, so I guess my question is there, would I need to come to a Senate meeting with a, sort of presentation or proposal to get onto the ballot, since we did miss the deadline to be put on the ballot for the increase? Or,
I think again, it still depends on what you are seeking funding for.
okay,
Which I believe the executive director just commented on. I believe, elections board, Hanson, Chair Hanson.
So I'll just do one layer and then you can answer. Okay, look, so in the spring, there's a spring election. At the current time, the timeline is for a special that would be occurring this quarter. So the spring election is still coming up. So that timeline is true for this, but not for the spring.
that makes
Is that true, Kim?
Yes. Yeah, and I can talk more on the application.
perfect. Thank you. I appreciate. consideration, all of you asking, or all of you answering my questions. Besides that, we just wanted to give a general report out to Senate. I didn't want to just come and ask that question, wanted to give you guys an update on what we've been doing.
Yeah.
Since it has been a minute, and I, as general manager, have not spoken to y'all yet. So thank you for the forum and the opportunity to do so. And I hope to speak with y'all again soon.
Yeah, just really quickly.
Yeah.
I wanted to ask, one, appointments have not been made for your unit. And I think that maybe we should, touch base after this meeting, as to, you know, your role as general manager and what the process looks like for your unit. In terms of like hiring and communication with the Senate in general. Yeah, I just wanted to put that on your radar to please reach out to me and schedule something so we can go over that. Does anyone have any questions? Senator Ganesh?
Just a little, like, early last year, not like early August 2024. I had sent out an email and Jennifer Kaiser actually responded to me asking about the fee increase, and I think you were CC'd, and she also introduced me to Ari Schweitzer, but they were not CC'd. So this conversation started, but then after that, I didn't get any reply from Jennifer. So for future, if it's you guys that I'm contacting and not Jennifer.
For future, if you could email Jennifer and then me as well, that is the perfect, combination to be reaching out to. We were a bit busy with fall events, and this, the increase is supposed to be on the spring ballot. I must have misread the initiative the first time, so that is why we have not followed up with you yet. But I appreciate it.
It's all good. Y'all have more time than we thought you did.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
All right, any more questions? All right, thank you, y'all. Thanks for coming. And now for executive, officers report, we have Osenu. John. I said that correctly, yeah. All right, you have the floor.
I'm mostly introducing myself to the new senators. I'm their media coordinator. I do the ASB Senate Instagram, making media for it and whatnot. For updates, working with the creative media unit. I'm gonna be talking with them tomorrow with Henry and Walidula to talk about like ways to post on the Instagram and whatnot. I'm going to start doing interviews with AS because UCSB TV didn't respond. I don't want to do that. And she was on board with it. So I want to start with Henry Lola. I did. And we want to interview you too.
Right.
Because well, in past years, it's like on the AS UCSB account, there's no like how you like.
Right.
Much more, so I'm also talking to Emily Savage, who's the public affairs officer manager for the UCSB Instagram account. I wanted to get them to start like posting AS stuff and being more fit us and AS. She told me basically that the account is for parents and alumni and future students and whatnot. And I was just telling her like, really doing a good job with that. So I said like basically like if we could discuss like ways to start like maybe, you know how you make collaborating posts. Something like that with at least some AS posts and maybe doing more recording media of like events going on, and, like, posting at least something. Because the way she made it sound, she was like, "Oh, we can't do anything about it." I'm like, "Oh, really?" So she didn't respond to my email. She sent it. I sent it 5 days ago. So I'll give her like another week before I go to the office. That's all I have to say, because yeah, I can't get any further than that with her. Yeah, we'll always work next week. I think we'll have it here. Hi, new people. We're gonna do introduction posts I'm gonna have a QR code, not today though. And you're gonna do your introduction. It's not like a video, it's like a. Kind of thought.
Period. Do you have any questions? We don't have any questions. I think honestly, you should just go to her office.
I was gonna.
Yeah, I think you should
I
just
don't-
go.
I don't even know why I waited 5 days.
No, it's okay. Especially if your email gets buried, they're not gonna talk to you, so let's go to the office. But hey, I'm real. Flesh and bone. Anybody on Zoom? Alright, I think we're done. Thanks for having me. From Hamilton. Alright, let's go into. That's all for we'll go into the. Yes, Senator Sunday?
I wanted to excuse Senator Iden for the meeting.
Yeah,
He's excused?
Yeah.
Oh,
he's
okay.
already excused.
Okay,
Would you like to rescind your motion?
yeah.
Alright, period. AG Carlson? Huh? You want- But we're already in reports. Yeah,
Wait, can they do the option?
Oh.
yeah. Now moving into President's Cabinet's report. We have AG Carlson speaking. From 8:05. Caleb, you also giving your report? Okay. It's like weird, I'm developing dyslexia when I'm older, is that normal? We don't need to talk about it, we don't need to talk about it. Alright, you have the floor.
Thank you, senators, for the minutes. My name is Eric. I'm the Attorney General. I'm here to give a cabinet report today, generally about some of the work of the ongoings of the office, as well as some things that I've been helping out with on the side. So to start, thank you, senators, for adjourning last week's meeting. That's super crucial, just to kind of keep a nice consistent record of the work that we're doing. In addition, I would like to address very briefly the letter that was erroneously distributed last week. I would recommend striking that from the agenda if it made its way there or from the minutes. And I motion to append to the record in its place that a draft memo advocating for financial discretionary autonomy was distributed and it is still in the works or something of that nature. Next up, I kind of want to discuss some smaller or probably a larger fish, which is the elections. Chair Hansen will discuss this more in detail with you guys about the actual happenings and the logistics of what's going on there. But the body has made it very clear about the intent to hold a special election. To put it bluntly, I would recommend not going forward with a winter special election. I will defer to Chair Hansen on kind of the specifics and logistics when he comes up and gives his report. But there are a couple of things that I want to kind of address. Typically, which is a very beautiful phenomenon that we have these pro-con statements that people, the general public, the students, are allowed to make on any ballot initiative, fee, referendum, site, whatever. And they can put out their opinion about how and try to encourage their peers to vote one way or another. It's a very awesome phenomenon. As much power as this grants the student body does not have the power over yes, no statements appended to the ballot, right? And in this, for the duration of this, I'm going to refer to that as ballot language, right? When you pass a resolution, as we have in this space, update, a resolution to update an article of the Constitution. In that resolution, if it doesn't contain yes to initiate these changes or to make these changes, no to deny these changes, if it doesn't may have some type of summary or synopses, right, some type of synopsis that seeks to summarize the changes made, explain the changes made, try to provide context for the student body, if you guys aren't approving of that language yourself, someone else along the way is going to be able to have that power, and they're going to be able to decide what a vote yes means or what a vote no means and how to frame it. And so the power of that framing, even if one good to-do senator at the table is ultimately taking on the charge of executing on that, there's no accountability. We have no record 5 years down the line, even 1 year down the line, as ultimately where did that language come from? Who wrote it? Was it just the inklings of the elections board? Was it just maybe a regent or someone in UConn, right? Anybody has ultimately the power if it doesn't come from the table. And I would feel vastly more comfortable if you guys yourselves voted on as a body to approve that said ballot, right? What does a yes vote mean? What does a no vote mean? Summarize the changes, right? This constitutional amendment seeks to increase executive authority, decrease executive authority, increase the size of the legislature, decrease the size of the legislature, however you choose to go and whichever route you ultimately choose. The student body, the people who are voting, they need that context. They need that information. And because we don't have that ready to go now, the timeline for progressing with a special election is extremely contracted. And so I would just advise, put it off till spring and work together. And this is specifically just in regards to those yes, no statements, but I'll get more on this in the future. I want to read out loud an opinion that my Solicitor General had written. Unfortunately, Ms. Sandy isn't in attendance today, but she gave me permission to read this on her behalf. Hello, Senators. My name is Sandy Greaves, and my pronouns are she, her, and I am this year's Solicitor General. I have come today to deliver some remarks regarding the proposed amendments to the articles of the Constitution and of the legal code on behalf of the Office of the Attorney General. This is in response to the context. This is in response to text messages from BCU chairs. This is in response from concerned students who actually aren't even affiliated in AS. Unfortunately, they know me by proxy as someone in AS, so they're kind of kept up to date. And in some cases, they don't exactly know what's happening. As you all know, these amendments concerning student fees, legislative representation, and executive power carry significant implications for the governance of the association. At the heart of this discussion is the necessity for consistency and transparency. When constitutional amendments, which ultimately impose sweeping changes, are proposed, we risk overlooking how they interact within the broader framework of our legal code, including university policy. A single contradiction or oversight could render parts of the Constitution ineffective or lead to unintended consequences, such as arguments made to challenge the validity of said document. It is critical that we ensure internal coherence and accountability in all the changes we make. I understand that Article 5 was, again, for context, pulled from the agenda, reconsidered and tabled indefinitely, but for the sake of continuity, I'll read it here. Regarding Article 5, which addresses student fees, we must consider not the immediate financial adjustments, but the long-term fiscal responsibility of the association. While the amendment seeks to enhance financial transparency and address the issue of rollover funds, we must engage with our budget teams, our campus collaborators who work and manage finance, as well as the finance committees to assess whether this truly aligns with student interests. On Article 6, which restructures Senate representation, there are concerns about the proportionality of representation and whether it sufficiently reflects the diverse constituencies of the student body. The amendment significantly alters how our legislative body is composed, yet it appears there has been limited outreach to affected groups. Before finalizing this change, we should consult directly with relevant stakeholders, including BCUs, to ensure fair representation. Further, in Article 7, which expands executive authority, it presents its own concerns. If there are shifting powers to the president and internal vice president, we must critically evaluate whether this benefits students or merely consolidates control. While efficiency is important, governance should not come at the cost of oversight. Before I continue on with Solicitor General's opinion, there are additional concerns that even myself and my office has had in regards to some of the construction of those articles. We are at a point within our realm of kind of setting up this constitution where we are kind of beginning to dive into not even just state law, federal law, UC Regental policy, university policy itself, and they're all, we would be in direct conflict with them all. Staff members, career staff members have a designated supervisor that supervises their work for the association. In the proposed constitutional amendments, we are trying to increase that supervisory role to include elected officials. The elected officials represent members of the association. They represent students. They are not necessarily staff supervisors. Members of the associate, members of our campus community that are not directly within the association. This creates grounds for ultimately HR disputes. If the IVP were to go in and request one thing of a staff member and the president requests a different thing, who are they supposed to listen to? At the end of the day, the answer is neither, because they're not required to. It's not in their job description that they have to report to any student elected official. It only exists that in one very kind of interesting caveat, which is the president's relationship with the executive director, or the Senate's relationship with the executive director. We already have these mechanisms that exist, and we should make use of those, right? Where we allow students to supervise other students, where we allow staff to supervise ultimately staff, right? It creates for better working environments. It breeds this kind of more spirit of collaboration. It prevents this idea of students kind of encroaching on the autonomy of staff members. And ultimately, it's the only legal option. Continuing on. Beyond the substance of these amendments, we face a procedural issue. It is unclear whether the vote on Article 6 was properly conducted, and the minutes simply do not accurately reflect what was decided. Additionally, I have been informed that the Senate meeting location changed without proper notice or accurate documentation in the meeting minutes. This compromises the transparency of said process and risks losing a lot of the things that happened into, oblivion, right? Can anybody explain, I don't even, do you even know the time that the meeting adjourned at, like off the top of your head?
1:35, because we just put it into the minute.
There we go.
Well, I wasn't there, so. 1:35.
This compromises the transparency of our process, and if we cannot confirm whether an amendment has even passed, then how can we stand by its legitimacy? The Attorney General's office would like to strongly recommend that we redo these votes, rethink the amendments holistically, and perhaps most importantly, invite BCUs and other relevant stakeholders, invite our staff members who have been here to promote continuity of the association for years and years and years, to engage in the process. It is not enough to vote on changes in isolation, such as a process. We must review our constitution as a whole before ratifying any modifications. I urge this body to prioritize transparency and shared governance. To that end, I, Sandy Grease, address Senator Sandy Ganesh. According to my records, you serve as the chair of the liaison committee. I recommend that you take the lead in engaging BCUs and working with them, such as committees on committees, and ensuring that all parties are properly informed on how these proposed changes will affect their operations. The Senate must operate with a shared consciousness. Every stakeholder should know what is happening and why. As it stands, we are leaving people in the dark, and that is simply unjust. In closing, I urge the Senate to take a step back and ensure that these amendments serve the best interests of the student body. It is acceptable to pass individual amendments. Before we finalize anything, we must review the Constitution in its entirety, eliminate inconsistencies, and reaffirm our commitment to democratic and transparent governance. With that, I conclude Sandy Grease's report. And in brief, I want to just illustrate some minor points on what I think, as the Attorney General, would be best. I recommend the following. I believe it fair and prudent that to call for total and complete withdrawal of all constitutional amendments for final review by some review committee come week 9 or week 10 of winter quarter to be approved and thought of by the Senate over here over spring break and ultimately for final approval on week 2 of spring quarter as stipulated by our bylaws. I make this recommendation because during my tenure at Associated Students, it's become abundantly clear that, and especially within the last couple of weeks, of all of the different arguments made about why every single constitutional amendment is important. From Article 10 to finding a way to codify accommodations for students who are forgotten during the process when we first set out to create government. To Article 5, when it comes to counteracting the problem of student fees and their chipping away by inflation, because we're sitting on millions and millions of dollars without having any real plan for it, and therefore losing upwards of $100,000 a year to inflation, when that could fund staff members, more student groups, capital investment projects, rental programs, and IB to potentially, you name it. It's simply irresponsible. And as many of you, incredibly talented, incredibly intelligent, incredibly competent human beings who sit at this table, it blows me away, honestly, that you guys are still in college. We have so much to change and so much good to enact for our campus peers. Let's take a step back and even dream a little bit bigger. And with that, I would like to invite you guys, again, complete withdrawal of those resolutions, identify a way forward that we might be able to better reflect the campus constituencies that we do represent here. And again, very, very, very importantly, when it comes to the breakdown of the Senate body, we've made arguments about not having freshmen on the board. And yet again, in another round of constitutional amendments, we failed to find a way to implement freshmen on the board. We failed. Passing that change only sought to ultimately redistribute the seats and not really find a way or solution for freshman senators. And that also includes on campus, historically, because a lot of times we don't have enough to run to even fill those spots in the first place. Nothing has been made more clear, but again, rollover, to breakdown of the Senate body, to accommodations or lack of thereof for students who need it in terms of our internal policies. Every single one of those amendments are valid. Every single one of them have a really raw and true spirit that needs to be defined. There's an infinite number of ways to pursue this type of change that we're looking for. Truly infinite. Not one considered the idea of having 2-year Senate terms where half the body is elected 1 year and then the other half is elected in the following year. This way, and you could do it from December to December. You allow trainings to happen during winter quarter when everybody's back on campus. You have project planning during the spring. Senators can take the time off in the summer. They can do whatever they want. Summer, I don't want to take that from you. And come fall, another round of elections. And now you have an entire half the Senate is trained and half the Senate is untrained. It solves the problem of continuity. It solves the problem of student-staff relations because you're curating similar faces within the space for a little bit longer. Students who are incredibly passionate about the space will continue to stay and make the change that they believe is accurate. And ultimately, the only way to go about something as sweeping as that change is ultimately to go as slow as you can, invite as many eyes onto the project, and build collaboration. Finance Committee has the Associate Director for Finance, Michael Saya, sitting there. Finance Committee is one of many committees and one of many student orgs. It's one that is incredibly successful in trying to navigate the barriers, obstacles of the association, how we exist within financial policy, within university policies, within UC Regental policies. Actively reckoning with all of those different caveats and how they overlap and how they interchange with one another every single time we have a meeting. That happens, in my opinion, not just because of the money, but because we have staff collaborators with us every single step of the way. And I think if we want to engage in truly inspiring goals, truly inspiring sweeping changes that we want to make to the association, I think the only way we're going to do that is walking hand in hand with the staff that are here to help us, with the staff that we hire out of our own student fees. We have to make use of them. We have to look out for their interests. When we have student leadership retreats where we go off and learn, we have to invite them with us. It's crucial. Not just for the student staff environment that we have here within this tiny little island of the department and associated students, but it's crucial for how we all work together as well. So I urge you to reconsider totally and completely all of the resolutions that were introduced. Hold off until spring quarter. Come together, work on one beautiful constitution. It must be total, full, and complete, and it must be self-consistent in its entirety. No part can contradict itself. If it does, you can rip it in half and throw it out the window. It literally doesn't matter. Everything has to be accounted for in something as important as a constitution. Anything procedurally, we can define in the bylaws. Anything that we want, that we dream, might be useful some years, might not be useful other years, put it into standing policies so you can override it with a single motion on the Senate floor. They're incredibly, the structure by which we have already set out associated students has been outlined for us for years and years and years. We can trust the system to save us. And I believe that the best way to do that is going a little bit slower. So thank you. I conclude my report. I will be taking questions. I do got to get back home soon. So with that, thank you.
Thank you. Senator Lala?
Attorney General, thank you for coming to speak to us. I want to start by, I'm not the only one to feel this, but there's always some kind of friction between the different branches of government. That's entirely fine. There's always significant disagreement. That's an actively positive thing. And we appreciate your guidance. We appreciate your challenge of us. That being said, yourself, me, Senator Siddiqui, Senator Iden, Senator Horsandi, had a conversation with you and with members of staff about this some hours prior today. You did not once mention that you wanted us to revoke these motions. So having established that, we appreciate the challenge, we appreciate the urging of us to think about things thoroughly. This reads rather like a challenging of something that has been litigated by elected leaders, by your successors, as you sat in this institution, something that we have decided on and have voted on as representatives of the student body. That part I sincerely don't understand. So just on those grounds, from one official to another, I think I speak for Senator Siddiqui and Iden here as well. We would have appreciated some consultation on this. We can argue about the fine points of all that you said. I'm sure there's some truth in there, but we have litigated all of this. We've litigated the part about freshman representatives. There was a very strange back and forth on that. We've gone through all of this. I don't understand why we need to bring it up again. And I'm going to withhold myself from going into all the various points. I think this is reaching into something, but one point actually, that on one hand you say that the rules of this association have sustained us for as long as they have, which is true, and we should be thankful for. And on the other, you urge us that this is not enough, and then we should redo the entire thing by spring, which Lord knows how we'll have the time, the know-how necessary to restructure an entire governing document by spring. We won't, is the short answer. When these are changes that we have seen from our experience, deeply felt, and the proof being that we have voted on this. And I don't understand the part about challenging the vote either, because so many things have been decided at meetings in AS Maine after the time runs out here at 11 p.m., including the Attorney General's appointment in fall quarter. Many things have been decided like that. To bring this to a conclusion, we've litigated this. The elected leaders of this institution have decided on this. We should keep every amendment for the special election.
Yeah, go ahead.
I have some notes, so I'll just kind of go from there. The reason why this opinion didn't come up in today's meeting was because I was the acting facilitator. And facilitators typically don't like to illuminate their opinion during times when they're trying to bring collaborators together. As the Attorney General, that's why I'm here today, to make them. When you refer to different challenges or balance of powers, I imagine you're referring to the exec Senate and the judiciary. Does anybody want to tell me how many sub-judicial councils we have in the association? Zero. We have zero. Does anybody want to tell me how many members we have? The short answer is there are no balance of powers. The Senate does operate relatively with impunity, relatively. That's why I'm here. Have any of you ever had a bill vetoed? No. There really is no balance of powers.
Well, wasn't that an indictment?
So when it comes back to the AS Main thing, we have in both the 73rd and 74th Senate had to redo entire agendas because we didn't advertise where we changed location. And we didn't. That's not something that's alien or something that I'm imposing upon you guys here today at all, by any means. If we didn't advertise where we were, if the Zoom link wasn't accessible, entire meetings had to stop, right? And then we would redo what we did. For things like an AS Main, I think there was literally, you can find it probably in your guys' agendas. It was May 31st, 5-31. That was a Senate agenda that we had to redo. Like just literally in its entirety, because we kept moving around. We didn't adjourn properly. We tried to go to email vote. Because the email vote didn't meet quorum, we had to redo the whole thing. I have that in my memory because I lived through it. And it took me about 2 months of my time to ultimately figure it out. So again, these aren't types of things where it's just like throwing an etch. When I refer to trusting the systems to save us, I'm almost exclusively referring to staff members. Staff members work day in and day out. They file our requisitions for us. They make sure the money keeps flowing. They make sure that our minutes are kept up to date. They make sure that it's all uploaded and codified so that come the audit in spring, we make those ends meet every single step of the way. We haven't failed them, and that's entirely to do with staff. If you go into Dr. Marquez's office, you will see a stack of requisitions. I applaud the Finance Committee again for their strides and efforts in trying to digitize kind of like how we do things. But insofar we've tracked every single dollar amount, and that's thanks to our student and career staff. So when it comes to these types of issues, I'm saying that there's a lot of unintended consequences, even if they're not legislated. Even if the effect isn't even if the effect legislated isn't what you're doing. When we cut $100,000 from staff salaries because they had a rollover of $400,000 about 2 years ago, we spooked staff, and they all thought that we were coming for them. They all thought that we were going to reduce their salaries. They all thought they thought this, even though we don't have the authority ultimately to decide their pay. They thought that, and that damaged the association to a very large extent. Subsequently, in the following year, staff salaries was increased by, I think, $600,000 to $700,000 as a budget item. It went from 2.9 million to, I think, 3.5 to 2.6. We have those records, right? And we've learned from those mistakes. And even though that wasn't the intended effect or the intended effect that we were legislating, it completely harmed how the association worked together with students and staff. And so when it comes to things like this, where we are actively dealing with an unenforceable change to the Constitution, where the president and IDB will be supervisors of career staff, that is unenforceable. That means that come 2 years, 3 years, 4 years, 5 years, an IDP is going to go in and say, I'm going to fire you as a staff member. We're no stranger to this. We have student-staff disputes quite frequently. And what happens when that IDP comes back and says, wait, I realize our Constitution's a lie? Oh, sorry, guys. That was the 75th Senate. That's kind of what we're asking for, is to make sure that everything included, right? You guys have every right for self-governance, right? You guys are the elected body. We have to make sure it's legal. We have to make sure that we can actually bring what we're promising to the table. We can't do that. nothing actually matters. It's this social contract that we're all filing together with one another, that we all follow those rules outlined for us there. And if one section's incorrect, the entire thing, for all I care, is also incorrect. Senator Law, you mentioned very critically that we've litigated and we've arbitrated and discussed these points. How many freshman senators are going to be serving that year?
Really quick before you answer that question, I'm yielding chairship, to Senator Butler, second, Gustavo.
Proceed, or, Senator Lala.
Yeah. How many freshman senators are serving right now?
Vice Chair Vance? One freshman? Three? When were they appointed?
Yeah, how are they serving?
Please wait till you get called on,
I'm sorry,
Senator Lala.
how were they appointed? Do you want to ask them? Were they elected or were they appointed?
An ad hoc committee.
Because of what we're trying to fix with one of the amendments that we're talking about right now, left those 5 positions empty. The issue of freshmen, to be fully honest with you, and I promise this is the last time I ever bring this up, is completely redundant. On one end, because in the US Senate, you have to be 30 years of age to be on there in the first place. There's something to be said about gaining the experience, and of the faults that this association has, integrating first years is not one of them. We have Pearman fellowships, we have 1,000 opportunities for you to get involved. If you're interested in the intersection between government and health, you have all kinds of commissions to be a part of. If you're interested in social justice, we have things for that. And then you can work your way up to elected office, as a lot of us here did. And there's no workable way of allowing them to run in the first place. I think maybe there's something to be said about the other aspects you're talking about. The freshman thing is just. I take that back, actually. I think this has all been litigated. I don't think this is a worthwhile thing to keep debating over.
Senator McBride.
In addition to us cutting down like the size of like the Senate seats, like we're gonna have staff positions per senator. So it's like if freshmen want to get involved, they can apply to work on the staff, get a like figure out like, oh, like, do I want to serve on something? Like it's kind of like a little way in. So it's like we have alternative routes, like Senator Lala was saying, for freshmen to get involved. So it's not like we're saying, oh, freshmen, you're not allowed near Senate with like a 10-foot hole. Like we're not saying that at all.
Senator Singh, I have a question for you, if you don't mind, Chair. Have these positions been discussed from a financial perspective? Do we have a ballpark, or are these things that we are kind of thinking that we're going to implement come spring?
No.
We have.
No.
It is $900 of honoraria per student that you want to employ here. You multiply that by, what's the size of the new Senate according to this constitutional amendment? Is it 18? 18. How many staff members? 2? So it's 36. 36 times 900. How? Anyone want to give a guess? $32,000. Is that budgeted for? These types of things that we're dealing with go beyond a lot. Forgive me. I understand a lot of the issues that you guys are looking to address. I've seen them, I've lived them, I understand them. In the current status of these amendments, they simply do not address the root issues you're looking to address. I've made my recommendation. I can take questions about that. If not, I'm gonna do it. Thank you, Chair.
Yeah, this will be the last question. Senator Brennan.
Okay, yeah, thank you, Senator, AG Carlson. Yeah, I have a question kind of relating to outreach to BCUs. I guess I'm wondering what outreach do you think is necessary for a change that is fundamentally within the Senate? Like, you know, obviously, what was it? 5 was quite impactful to BCUs, and clearly we figured that maybe shouldn't go through at this moment. But relating to the structure of the Senate, what, or maybe your Solicitor General would have thoughts on that. What sort of interaction do you think is necessary for that to be sufficient?
Put it bluntly, every single constitutional amendment is going to affect every single BCU. If you're giving supervisory capacity, which by the way, again, is completely unenforceable and illegal, and it will not be made good on no matter how hard you wish it. You're making the president, IDP, other elected officials directly in charge of those BCU's advisors. Of course, it's going to affect them. They need to be invited into the fold. The advisors need to be invited to the fold of said BCUs. We need to be able to handle these things with them. They just need to be made aware of what's happening. The idea behind outreach is damage prevention. That's another avenue that if you want to look at it, you can. When I said that we cut $100,000 from staff salaries, there was zero outreach. If there was outreach and said, hey, we're taking it away because $400,000 was left in the account at the end of the year, and therefore it's not gonna affect anybody, they would be like, oh yeah, that makes sense. I thought they use this money. But no one ever made that distinction. No one ever actually went out and made that effort. Therefore, it looks like what it's supposed to be doing, which is cutting money from staff salaries. So whatever you want to do, feel empowered. Don't forget about the people you represent, and don't forget about the people who are supporting the people that you represent.
Thank you. I'll be yielding their shift to Colonel Vice President.
All right, thank you. We are now moving into. Sorry, I'm loading. Chair Hanson from Election Board's report.
Back. I know you guys love me. So. I think best way to go about this. So far for planning the spring or this special election. I originally reported to you guys that it was gonna happen during week 4. Then I came and told you that that was unfeasible. So it was gonna happen during week 5. Then we moved to week 6. At this point, we have moved to week 7. In consultation with advisors, the Attorney General, we have determined that it's infeasible to have a election that never ends. So we have to put a hard deadline, which means if it doesn't hit 20% by that hard deadline, the election will just be invalid and be nothing, even on the ballot, will matter. Currently, the way we're looking at it is starting week 7 Monday. If the ballot language gets approved and you guys decide to go forward with this election today, we would have UCOP approve it over the next week and have the ballot ready by week 7, and we would be finishing the election Friday of week 8. That's 2 weeks. If an election is gonna be finished by people who actually care to vote and don't just get bullied by emails, it would be done in those 2 weeks. We again risk, if it doesn't hit that 20%, it was a moot point, it was expensive. And that was a point, Eric's gone, that me and Eric talked about with the election. I work at y'all's pleasure. The entire elections board does. We follow your guys' directive. I'm just giving you guys our analysis of what this election looks to bring. On the agenda today, it hasn't been, I don't know if it's made its way onto the official agenda yet, but we have all of the language that would be on the ballot for the 3 amendments that you guys passed. There has been concerns from multiple members in the association and advisors that the language is too charged to be on a ballot. It's not impartial enough to give the student body a fair representation of the ballot. You guys will be voting on that today. You guys have the liberty to change. On top of that, after you guys do it, we have elections board tomorrow. We will make edits to make it feel more impartial. And then it gets sent to campus advisors and UCOP, and they make their edits. So at this point, we have two paths we're gonna take. You guys can elect to make the ballot measures, write the language today. We would need it today. If we go past today, its approval, it becomes infeasible to have a winter election. Because once you move past then, we get into finals, all bets are off for anyone voting. So you guys approve the ballot language, we move forward that way, we have the election, we hit 20%, they go in, we don't hit 20%. It was a moot point. You guys don't move forward with Eric's strategy of not having the special election. We have week 9 is the last day any of you guys have to put anything on the spring general election ballot. You guys can put these constitutional amendments, any more that you want to add, including and the initiatives by week 9. And then we will, as the election board, work with UCOP advisors and everyone to give you guys a ballot by week 2 of spring quarter. Like I said, it's up to you guys. We work at your guys' pleasure. I'm happy to take questions. Yeah.
Just realized I didn't do something. I would like to recognize the presence of Senator Corlew and Lala. That's it. I just wanted that on the record. We'll now be moving into questions. Senator Lala?
Chair, thank you for coming. So it seems to me, this could just be a personal opinion, that since we voted and decided to have this election in winter quarter, sometimes in the middle of this quarter, that the only solid paths in consideration here are whether we want to make the changes ourselves today or simply give it up to you to make said changes. I'm one of the senators who helped draft the language on those ballots. I saw the changes that I believe you made on Article 10. Thought they were completely reasonable, thought they were very well thought out. I am personally all for simply giving it up to you, not only because we have, the association and the university's business to deal with, but because I think you and the rest of the committee are best positioned to take care of said work. That said, this could be just a reflexive student instinct, but I would really urge you to keep the vast majority of said changes and suggestions made by you and your committee as student officials, and frankly, minimally from the University of California's Office of the President. The point of this association is for us to be an institution that obviously within boundaries, within parameters, represents our fellow students' interests. So I hope as much as is possible, that's the way that this unfolds. And ultimately, I think I'm not revealing anything new here. We should absolutely go ahead with the winter quarter election, even if it has to. I was hoping it would be week 6, but it seems like that's just not feasible from what you're saying. So 7 through 8, that said, would there be a possible extension if we have not reached that 20% mark? Why is that?
We as both, well, it's not impossible, but the advisors and the election board have if we don't hit 20% in 2 weeks, we're gonna get in the finals. No one's gonna vote during finals. Then we're gonna have spring break. No one's gonna vote during spring break. We start campaigning week 2 of spring quarter. And to have 2 elections running at the same time just screams issues with the student body.
Sure.
Yeah, hello.
Yeah, that's actually precisely the point of why I think we should go ahead with the winter election. Because as we all know, candidacy for the spring election opens up week 9 of this quarter. So for us to, for us to carry out an election week 2 of that same quarter while preparing for this other one, I agree, is unfeasible. What I'm asking is not for us to extend it indefinitely. But say we need 23,000 votes and we're at 22,988 on Friday, 4 p.m. if that's the deadline. Would we be willing to extend it? Because if not, then it seems like a contention with what's on the amendments and not the actual process of the election itself.
So it's hard to talk in absolute, if. It is not an absolute no to extension.
Okay.
If we are in that situation. We would definitely work in tandem with the elections board and with all of our representatives, advisors to extend it. If it seems feasible. The other issue. That we have. Is your guys' last day. It's completely up in the air whether these amendments would pass or not. If that 20%. You guys have Wednesday, week 9 is your guys' last meeting where you can put anything on the agenda or on the ballot. The reason we have it 7-8 right now is so if we do not hit that 20%, you guys are able to still put them on the general election.
Thank you.
Can you look at your text?
Senator Butterson?
Yeah, thanks again for coming, Chair, and thanks for. Keeping your schedule. Aligned with ours. But yeah, I'm kind of wondering about the ballot language. I see on the. Agenda, there's a winter special election supplement. Is that the?
That
correct
would
document?
be 6 and 7. Article 6 and 7.
Okay.
There should be one more that's Article 10.
Well, otherwise I don't have access to it, but either way, I'm gonna. Yeah, defer to Senator Lala. I think you guys can cover the language on there, but what exactly is that language bias problem that you're talking about? Can you get
So-
that more in depth?
Basically, and we see this across the country. When people write ballot language that's charged, it can have significant outcomes on elections. So like Ohio, this is a really stupid example, but I'm a poli-sci major. Ohio, the last election had a ballot to basically end gerrymandering, but they worded it in a very confusing way that basically made it sound like it was becoming less democratic because it was going to be an independent commission. So, and the Republican Attorney General was against this change and worded the ballot language to sound super undemocratic. And even though the idea polled really high in Ohio, it ultimately didn't pass because of this ballot language. So that's the idea, that the ballot language is given as clearly and unbiased as possible.
Senator Butterson?
Yeah, I understand what biased ballot language means. I just mean what particular ballot language in this ballot is biased. I just want to know that.
So there was some parts of Article 10 that I edited. And then by the time the language for 6 and 7 came out, I was informed by advisors that without a full vote of the Senate on the language, it was unrepresentative. So I didn't even try to edit those ones for you guys. That one's all up to you guys to edit. I briefly looked at the language. I haven't fully looked at it yet. I heard that there were some questions. I was told that there were some questionable statements in it. I don't fully know on that one yet. The main thing was just, it is a constitutional amendment put on by the Senate. So the ballot language should be approved in full by the Senate, and then it gets sent to me, my board. We make any adjustments, and then we send it to UCOP in campus, and any adjustments get made there. And then it circles back around to you guys by next Senate to fully approve the ballot and make sure that too much hasn't gone away from your guys's original intent.
Senator Lala?
So if we hypothetically decide that it has gone too far from our original intent, it has to follow this cycle again?
Yes. Because nothing can go for election that isn't UCOP approved. That's just how the UCs work.
Alright. If you can approach the table so I can confirm with you that this is the ballot language in question. Doesn't seem like there's Article 10 on it.
No, I sent you.
There's separate ones.
Huh?
There's multiple docs.
Yeah.
Was that the
There's
question?
multiple docs,
Yeah,
okay.
it should be in,
Thank
yeah, let me just forward the email to both of you.
you.
You send it to Snell.
Can you erase that from the? Do you have access? No.
You should, know.
Yeah. Alright, do we have any more questions? No, but there's no one, Alright, Alright. Alright, thank you. Yeah, with no further ado. Very funny. Oh. All right, we are moving out of unit reports. No, we're moving out of unit reports and moving into public forum. Just real quick, it seems like we have, two people speaking today. Firstly being, Billy Wu. I just think of. All right. You have 2.5 minutes to speak with 2 minutes for Q&A. Please state your name, pronouns, and enunciate, but refrain from yelling. Speculation of a senator's intentions and abilities is prohibited and will result in strikes, 3 strikes, and you will be removed from the ability to speak on the floor. Please note this meeting is being recorded. You may speak on any issue, whether it's on the agenda or not. Please include a content warning if it'll be graphic. You may only come up once. You may choose to answer questions. Do you agree?
Yeah.
All right, you have 2.5 minutes.
Can I have additional 3 minutes?
No, sorry. No, I'm sorry. It's just because we're. All right, speaker has asked for an additional 3 minutes. Senator Lala,
Motion to add 3 minutes to Billy Wu's time.
there has been a motion to add 3 minutes to Billy Wu's time. Do we have a second, Senator Lankrani? Second. Seconded by Senator Lankrani. We are now discussion. Senator Amin. Call the question.
If this is gonna take longer than 5 minutes, I would really
Right.
recommend that you take recess now.
We have to have recess at 9.
It's not.
That's why I said that.
Then you have to end at 9. Bye.
That's fine.
All right. Senator,
If you have any questions.
Yeah, it's gonna
We
take
have to
long.
ask that after
We
recess.
should wait till after recess.
Oh, that would.
You can refuse questions.
Or if you have 2.5 minutes to speak, and then there'll be enough
Exactly.
time.
I can try to finish.
Jill. Senator Baller.
Motion to enter a 15-minute recess at 8.
All right, we were still in a motion. I'm pretty sure someone called a question. Do we have objections to the
Chair,
called question? Because
Chair.
that's how this is supposed to work.
Chair,
Senator Lala,
I rescind my motion.
you rescind your motion? Okay, cool. It seems like we should enter a premature recess. So sorry about that. I know that you're taking time to be here. I wanted to respect that. All right. Senator Butler,
Motion to enter a 15-minute recess at 8:56 p.m.
there's been a motion to enter a 15-minute recess at 8:56 p.m. Do we have a second, Senator Wayne?
Second.
Seconded by Senator Wayne. You're in discussion. Senator Lankalani, question has been called. Do we have any objections?
Consent.
Do you have any objections to the consent? All right, seeing none, we are now moving into a recess, until eight, wait, fuck, 9, 11, nice.
Yeah, I was.
Not bad.
Please note this meeting is being recorded. You may speak on any issue, whether it's on the agenda or not. Please include a content warning for the graphic. You may only come upon to make sure to answer questions. Do you agree?
Yes.
All right, go ahead.
All right, good evening, everybody. Thank you so much for having me here. My name is Billy. I'm the co-chair of the Global Gouge Commission. I'm here to appeal my denied honorary request. My honorary request was denied for $1,950. I was able to reach an agreement with the IBT during recess that I will submit the denied request again during this upcoming and ongoing honorary season. And I just want to put this on record. Okay.
All right, thank you. Do you want to answer any questions?
Yeah, if there's any questions, I'm happy to answer. Thank you.
All right, Senator Lala?
I know Billy decided not to go into details, but this is retroactive honoraria for quarters and quarters and quarters of work that he has done, not only for the international student community on this campus, but everyone. Billy's the first connection and friend that I made in Associated Students while working at the Office of the President. He is one of the most competent, down to earth, and kindest human beings I know. It would be an absolute injustice for his honorarium not to be approved. So,
All right, thank you. Do you have any comments or want to answer?
Thank you. That's my baby crying. Thank you.
Oh, yes, Senator Kwani?
I'm sorry, I don't want to get into it, but like, why? Like, because that's a pretty substantial amount of honorarium.
Yeah, okay, so can I answer?
Yeah.
Yeah, I basically, it was like at least 3 or 4 quarters that I didn't apply, and I just applied everything retroactively last quarter. So I understand there's some financial constraints when it comes to requesting honoraria from a previous fiscal year. So that's the reason as I understand it, I can't really go into details because I'm not an expert on that, but that's my understanding.
Yeah, Senator Wayne?
Can I ask a question to Senator Singh, who's the chair of the finance committee?
Okay, I'm also the chair of the honorary committee, but, yes, you can direct a question to Senator Singh.
I remember at a previous finance committee meeting, we were having a lot of discussion about retroactive honoraria from previous fiscal years and the way that it just caused messes. I think that Billy should get his full honoraria because that's a lot of money, but I'm just curious how that's gonna work.
Senator Singh?
The state when or which quarter and years you're asking honorary for.
Yes. Do you want the?
I have it, can I say?
Oh, yeah, of course.
So I see that you're asking honoraria from spring 2023, fall 2023, summer 2023, spring 2024, fall 2023, spring 2024, summer 2024, summer 2023, and in my conversations with the Associate Director of Budgeting and Finance, I was told that retroactive honoraria, when it's not just from the quarter just before, it does cause a lot of problems for admin to go in to the records and see, you know, if this person actually exists or not, because like I know all of you are aware, we still don't have a digitized system where we can track everything. That being said, there's no official implementation of that policy, so it should go through. It should not be a problem, but it is definitely, the Senate should consider this, that this causes a lot of problems for admin. It definitely slows things down for all of us. And at the end of the day, it is the responsibility of every association, every member of the association to apply for honoraria. I do understand that you can miss it. I've missed it many times as well. But yeah, it should go through, but obviously in the future, please try and stay on top of any honoraria notifications you get. And we should definitely consider having some kind of like upper limit to when we can apply for honoraria, retroactive honoraria.
I appreciate the understanding and explanation.
All right, Period. Do you have any more questions? Comments, concerns? All right, seems like that's it. Thank you for coming. Okay, can you write under action items the exact orders that they were back to the All right, moving into our next speaker, Johnny McCorville. Is that correct?
It's close enough.
Okay. Um. To speak with 2 minutes for Q&A, please say your name, pronouns, and enunciate for refrain from yelling. Speculation of the senator's intentions and abilities is prohibited and will result in strikes. 3 strikes and you'll be removed from the ability to speak on floor. Please note this meeting is being recorded. You may speak on any issue, whether it's on the agenda or not. Please include a content warning if they'll be graphic. You may only come up once and make sure to answer questions. Do you agree?
I agree.
All right, you have 2 minutes and 30 seconds.
Okay. Awesome. Yeah, my name's Johnny. Pronouns are he, him. I'm just gonna be updating you on some CalPERT things. Yeah, and a quick refresher on what CalPERT is. We're a statewide student activist group that was started up in UCs during the 70s. We've worked on a variety of campaigns in the past that we've won, notably of which we committed the UCs to 100% clean energy. We were also responsible for some of Biden's last executive orders, while not. But yeah, some things that have been going on with us recently is we just finished our pledge drive, where we pledged over 900 students on the UC campus. I'm pretty sure you guys have seen this tabling before. This is really important. This is how we get all our funding. Yeah, and how we get all of our support from students because we are a student-facing group. Yeah, this upcoming weekend, we're also going to be having a basic needs canvas throughout Isla Vista for some LA fires related basic needs. So yeah, that's for our hunger and homelessness campaign. But notably of which, one of our biggest campaigns this quarter is our Stop Sable campaign. This campaign is targeted at the oil rigs off our coast, which have been inoperable since, the huge 2015 oil spill. Right now, a company coming in from Texas is trying to restart the pipelines just off our coast. So we're running a campaign to make sure that doesn't happen. Yeah, there's a lot of stuff that we're doing towards that. We're running a bunch of big events. We're talking with county board of supervisors and stuff. Yeah, and that's something that's going on this campus, and we should be sending you all a resolution on that sometime within the next week as well. But yeah, that's all I have. Anyone has questions?
All right, thank you. Do you have any questions? Senator Lola?
Can you tell me a bit more about this resolution? When?
Yeah. Yeah, the resolution, yeah, would just be illustrating your guys' support to not restart the pipeline off our coast. Specifically, it's the Refugio oil pipeline. You can look it up. There's a bunch of stories about it. Yeah, is there any other specific questions?
I'd love help on that.
Yeah.
Any more questions? All right. Seeing none. Okay. Seeing none. Thank you so much for coming today. We're definitely looking forward to working with y'all. This is, very pressing, so I really appreciate you taking the time to come out today.
Thank you.
All right. Okay, we're now leaving public forum and moving into would anyone like to add anything onto new business or old business? It seems like you don't have any this week. All right, period. We'll now be moving into the executive director's report.
Every new member of the Student Senate, thank you very much. For coming, and thank you very much for your interest and being sworn in today. I'll share with you all my office hours are usually on Wednesdays from 1 to 3. And by appointment, and so I'm also before you all leave, we can schedule a little bit of time. I think over time, one of the efforts that I really have appreciated are these moments where we can see real change and we can decide for ourselves exactly what associated students, undergraduate student government, recognized by the University of California, can and will do. And it has always been a homework of the, not just UCSB, but the UC system and the state. And so at UCSB, this particular association has always been very, very. And so I would like to work with anyone, with everyone, but particularly if you're joining the Senate in February 2025, it may seem like nothing else you've ever done. And just to introduce myself, I hold a doctorate in political science and I serve associated students as their executive director since 2007 to the president. I also teach for the departments in Chicago and studies in political science. And so I know the rest of everyone else here, but I want to be formal. Typically, my report includes personnel, ongoing issues and new issues that come up typically on a weekly basis. I'm not always invited to present at the Senate meetings, but when and if they do not have enough time, I submit my report anyway to the minutes. So even if you don't see me here, the words will be there in the minutes. In terms of my update for you all for this week, I'll focus on personnel. Nothing has changed this particular week. There are several issues. When it rains in central and south, the South Coast, all kinds of things go wrong. All kinds of things go right, but also all kinds of things go wrong, particularly with leaks around the buildings that particularly associated students inhabits, which are 7 different locations. And in and of themselves, they are occupied by career staff and student staff. And as you all know, we employ over 300 undergraduate students, as well as career staff. And I think if you go to our homepage, you'll see the entire staff that is serving this association. In terms of this particular week and this particular rain, the Pardall Center has how shall we say, they're taking in water, and they're not supposed to be taking in water. And it wasn't even from this rain that we're experiencing right now, but we're just clearing out the water. For an example of associated student staff working together with students, the governance of Pardall Center includes staff, student staff, and career staff working together to make sure that a satellite space in Isla Vista that is collaboratively developed and collaboratively functioning does the best that it can. And so in the short term, we're trying to fix that particular matter. My work involves actually developing and extending the lease. So I'm actively working with the contracts office to extend the lease and also review the lease to make sure that in any event that we have a method by which we can actually correct the water coming in into that building that isn't supposed to be there, so correcting any leaks. You'd think that would be super easy. It actually is not super easy. It's not even understood where the water is coming into. So it involves a number of departments, and it involves reviewing the lease. And though I'm certain I'm not gonna fix it, I do have to figure out who is, how, and how much, and what is a fair way of going about that. So that is an example of an event that is ongoing. We're solving it, and it's a new issue. Another new issue is we're transitioning AS Rides, which is an AS program where we reimburse students that are either short-term disabled or permanently disabled. They receive reimbursement to be able to come and go from campus. And that particular program has for many years, easily, I would say 9 years, has been in collaboration with the DSP office. the present time, the DSP office has suggested that we actually collaborate with a different department to develop that. Special program advisor Sophia Lee Park, myself, met with the director of Veterans Affairs and Military Science, who's actually managing transport on campus for folks that are experiencing short-term disability or long-term. We met to develop a little bit of a different system and upgrade the system so that students have more of a sort of a seamless support on campus and off campus, coming and going from campus. But also just getting around this campus. If one has a matter that impedes one's easy mobility, it's very, very hard. So working on those two issues, there's also the issue surrounding the HIP projects that the Senate has passed over the past few months that I wanted to invite Senate help on to make sure that we actually work on developing the infrastructure around Blue Lights project as well as the vending machine. We finally have one vending machine and we're trying to get a second vending machine. But one of the good things about having the high impact project effort is that it's a collaboration. It's a collaboration with staff, students, student senate for sure. But we don't necessarily have the same implementation model for every single one of these projects. They're gonna vary, and there's gonna be different challenges and blessings for every single one. So I appreciate that the Senate has funded a couple more, and we need a little bit of more of support from the Senate in terms of what the legislative direction is of how do we expect that to run? Because we develop them and we're glad to do it. The idea is really to develop a standing policy so that it's just like, oh, this is the way it's gonna run. And if it's not gonna work, then what do we do with it? Make sense? So I'll leave it there for now. I know that we're running a little bit out of time, but I did want to offer any kind of questions that you all may have. The last report that I shared with you all the renovations that we're seeking. This room, State Street room, because we use the State Street room every week, we do this one. And also the infrastructural change up on the third floor to instate the Disabled Cultural Center that we've been trying to get in place. And so that's a number of meetings that we've taken as well. So that's my report for this week. So do you have any questions?
All right, thank you. Does anyone have any questions for Director Marquez, Senator Law?
Thank you, Executive Director. For the Uber program, if I could just confirm all of the funding, everything is taken care of at the executive level, or is there any involvement needed from Senate?
The AS rights.
Okay, so AS rights works in such a way that it's off of a recharge that we keep from the night and weekend parking pass through.
Okay.
So we do have funding for that. What we do not know is if or as it's leaving DSP and going over to veterans, we may need a little bit of funding to actually rework their website so that they have a little bit of a different web form and link back to a data. So I'll come back to you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Would the reworking of this website fall onto our technology and technology? I guess like unit, is that unit?
Our web development team.
Yeah.
Thank you. We're going to first ask the team that supports student affairs, because we believe that's who's hosting their web presence now. And so it would be an edit off of that. We wouldn't need to develop anything new. So if they do need to receive any kind of payment, that's what I was mentioning to the senator, that I may need to come back to allocate some funding, because it would make more sense for us to pay whomever is working on the web pages for student affairs.
All right, that makes sense. Sarah, say?
Yeah, I just wanted to ask a bit more about the Blue Light Tower thing. From what I'm aware, it has been completely approved and everything. It's ready to start going. We're ready to start putting our orders in for the Blue Light Tower itself. I think you were talking about the future, what would happen with, so. If I'm not wrong, I think the EVPLA said that we wanted to sign MOUs with. I think IVPD and, sorry, IVPRD, and then IVFP as well. So I think that's how the maintenance would work, and also the phone plans for each tower would work as well. And it would be like, I guess every couple of years, we have to put more money in that area. And then we could keep up with the maintenance of the phone plans. But the phone plan should be good for like a couple of years, I think for. And then maintenance, we do have warranty on those towers as well when we place these orders. But it's just for like unexpected costs.
Thank you. What I would invite the senator to do is to codify it into standing policy so that future senates and staff can review it and follow a particular protocol. The other thing is unexpected events, right? And unexpected costs. And if it's going to be funded out of the EVPLA office, that makes sense. Or if the EVPLA office morphs, adds different things into their office, where would the funding continue from? Because each of these programs are great programs, but as we're seeing, even with ASRI, it's something that we don't manage, we simply reimburse. There's a lot of back end to it. So that's why it would be helpful. It doesn't require a lot of senators, maybe a couple of senators just to walk me through it, so I can write up an MOU that makes sense. And then we can put those elements into a standing policy.
All right, thank you. Any more questions? Thank you. Now moving into any committee reports. Do we have any committee reports this week? All right, seeing none, moving on. We're now moving into minutes and allocations. Senator Butler?
Motion to approve all minutes and allocations.
There's been a motion to approve all minutes and allocations. Senator Martinez, seconded by Senator Martinez. We are now discussion. Senator Wayne?
Public question.
Question has been called. Do we have any objections? Consent. All right. Do we have any objections to the consent?
Consent.
All right. Seeing none, motion passes. All right, let's go back into action items. First being the AS Strategic Vision Plan. Senator Butler?
Motion to table the AS Strategic Vision Plan 2025 for a week.
All right, there's been a motion to table the approval of the AS Strategic Vision Plan that is for 2025 for a week. Do we have a second, Senator Wahidullah? Second. Seconded by Senator Wahidullah. We are now in discussion. Senator Lala?
Call the question.
Question has been called. Do we have any objections?
Consent.
Any objections to the consent? All right, seeing none, motion passes. Now moving into the winter special election ballot language. Yep, all these two. So just for clarification on the agenda, there are two documents, but they are for the same motion. Or there's under the same one item. I suggest that everyone just give like a quick read. Senator Singh?
I'm gonna point out in the section supplement, the inaugurating section 3 as well. Section A was dropped, so section B is supposed to.
What section could we talking about, section three?
The distribution of elected representatives. A is struck out. so
All right.
B should be in.
Um,
I think it's just something we should solve. for this one.
I would recommend that we open it. Yes, Senator Singh?
Motion to open the winter special election.
All right, there's been a motion to open the winter special elections supplement. Do we have a second? Senator Crescendi?
Second.
Seconded by Senator Crescendi. We are now in discussion. Senator Whitula? Call the question. Question has been called. Do you have any objections? All right, seeing none, we are now opening that. I personally don't have access to it. Yes. Senator Lala, I believe you have access to that document?
This one.
Yes, what about it?
We're opening it, so we need to, make those changes. Would you like to make a motion that change? Yes, Senator Singh?
It's a bit confusing what the language would be. So I just say
Motion to,
correct the numberings. on that one.
You could say like change blank and blank.
remember that it would change everything that follows suit.
Sure.
Yes, Senator Lala?
I'm sorry, are you currently, did you propose a motion or are you just talking about it? 'Cause I could propose one if you have,
Yeah.
or you could just rescind it.
Okay,
I
yeah,
could-
they asked a question.
Okay, then we could
Yes,
just,
Senator Lala?
we could just word it as motion to change the letter subheadings under section 3 to correspond with their new order.
All right, Senator Singh?
Second.
Oh, that was not a motion.
Yeah.
That was not a motion.
Yeah, I was discussing. I was discussing it. I can make
Yeah,
it.
it's discussing it, but, Senator Lala?
We did open this. right?
Yes, we did it.
Okay, then I motion to change the letter headings under section 3, distribution of elected representatives to correspond with their new order.
All right, there's been a motion to change the lettering headings under section 3, distribution of elected representatives. To correspond with their order. Do you have a second? Senator Singh? Seconded by Senator Singh. We are now in discussion. Senator Wang?
Call the question.
Question has been called. Do we have any objections?
Michelle.
All right, do we have any objections to the consent? All right, seeing none, motion passes, to make that amendment. The supplement. All right, would you like to motion to close? I recommend somebody motion to close this unless we have any further amendments we would like to make. Motion to do it real quick. Senator Crescendi?
Motion to close winter special election supplement.
There's been a motion to close winter special election supplement. Do we have a second, Senator Singh?
Objection, I would objection.
Right, okay, we have a second? Proxy Lucan,
Second.
seconded by Proxy Lucan. We're now in discussion.
Yeah.
Senator Singh?
Sorry, in same thing, article 7, section 2. Section B. J, K, L, and K is struck, so K should now be L. You know what I mean?
Yep.
L should be K.
All right. Would you like to rescind your motion, Senator Crescendi?
I rescind.
All right, original motion has been rescinded. We are back in discussion. Senator Lala?
I motion to amend all letter headings to correspond with their new order throughout the document.
All right, there's been a motion to change amend all letter headings in this document to correspond with their order. Do we have a second? Proxity Lucan?
Section.
Did I say proxity? Yeah. I'm just making words extra cunty right now. I know. Yeah, okay. There wasn't a second. All right, seconded, we are now discussion. Was it a concrete?
Questions?
Do you have any objections to the consent? All right, seeing none, motion passes to change all, amend all, letter headings to correspond with their, new order. Throughout the document, thanks. All right, do you have anything else? In the document? I recommend that we close it. Sarah Cressetti?
Motion to close winter special election supplement.
There's been a motion to close winter special election supplement. Do we have a second, Senator Singh? Seconded by Senator Singh. We're now discussion. Oh, sorry. That's been called. Do we have any objections? All right, seeing now, motion passes. This document is now closed. Winter special election supplement is now closed. All right, that's super chill. That's good. Where is the? Right, we are still on that line item. Of the winter, of approving the winter special election, ballot language. Yes.
Are we tabling this right now, or are we?
Would you like to? Well, right now we are in discussion and also making motions if that's what you are. What you would like to do.
Just, was not completely caught up to the meeting.
Yes, we are in the stage of approving or not approving the ballot language for the special election. Senator Butler?
And also, don't we have to like by tonight, let like Caleb Hansen know for the meeting tomorrow that like whether we're having the election or not?
Chair Hansen?
If you guys wanna have this election, you guys need it approved tonight.
Right.
There is no.
Chair.
All right,
Chair.
period. Senator Lola?
And by approved, Chair, you mean, that is Chair of Elections Board, you mean just this winter special election supplement, that's all that needs to be approved by tonight? Thank you.
Senator Lola?
I motion to,
Senator Lola?
I motion to pass winter special election supplement.
All right, you would have to approve.
Pardon?
Would you like to rescind your original motion? You have to approve both of them, because it's just say ballot language, just say ballot language. Senator Lola?
I rescind my motion.
All right, motion rescinded. Senator Lola?
I motion to approve ballot language.
The winter special election.
I motion to approve the winter special election ballot language.
All right, there's been a motion to approve the winter special election ballot language. Do we have a second? Senator Bill Khatib? Seconded by Senator Khatib. We're now discussion. Senator White?
Call the question.
Question has been called. Do we have any objections? Do we have it?
We go.
Yes,
from
yes,
there,
yes,
though.
Yes, we don't have. What's it called? A question called?
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
Question's been called. Do we have any objections?
Yeah.
Consent, do we have any objections to consent? All right, seeing none, we are now moving into a hand vote. Honestly, I don't think the hand vote is warranted, because it's not legislation.
Sure.
Yes, Senator Lala?
That's true, but this is kind of contentious. We've had people report on this, we might as well.
All right, I think, yes, Chair Hanson?
You guys have to approve these, and then you need to approve the ballot as a whole, which is, you approve the language and then you're approving, it's basically two motions, same thing. But you need to just approve the three to be as a ballot, so I can send the ballot to you, Kyle. For editing. That's
Right.
A lot of steps.
Has this, change been sent to Senate leadership?
It's basically just two motions. That would need to be made, it's approving the ballot language and then approving them as the ballot.
All right, Senator Lala?
Would this need to be approved next week once you've run it through the
You
system?
will
Or do
need to
you, we-
approve the ballot again next week. You guys are approving the ballot, so I can send it, and then if you guys need to approve it again once it gets sent back.
right, but the second approval you're speaking of is next week?
Yes. But
So-
we still need an approval.
Sure. But this week, all we need to do is this right here.
No.
You need to approve the ballot language.
And the ballot.
Which is what it does, and then the ballot as a whole, which is just them two.
Okay, I'm unsure as to what the ballot is currently, but, okay,
It's just the three of them.
sure, okay.
Or
Executive Director Marquez?
Well, thank you, Chair. The additional comment, would be to the chair to make sure that the body, may want to change their protocol. There was discussion for the officers to see to the election board, the ability to make necessary edits, so it doesn't elongate it even further.
All right, thank you.
So that to the chair, it might be.
Right. Can we please have a copy of the ballot?
the one document.
Okay, no, because we already have a copy of the election supplement and the Article 10 ballot language. The only thing that we're missing is the actual ballot, unless we
Just add Article X onto the winter special election supplement and then
Yeah,
that's the
they can
ballot.
just be combined, and it would be.
all right. Period.
We can do it.
Still two motions.
So we have to go back into it. All right, Senator Lala, would you like to rescind your motion?
Sure, but
After consideration?
I'm wondering whether it's necessary, could we not refer to it, to the two documents collectively as the ballot when we're approving it, or does it have to be in a singular document?
I've been whispered behind me that it should be one document.
Okay. No, wait a minute, then it should be a new document that constitutes the ballot, correct? Thank you. Do not add it on.
All right, I'm gonna take a point of personal privilege and I'm yielding chairship to Senator Butler.
Excellent.
I just have one, might be dumb questions. But didn't Karen Hansen talk about not having like an indefinite election? Do we need to determine that or is it there? Like setting an end date? So if two elections don't run at the same time, do you determine that or do we have to like?
Elections for the executive director at the time, it's something like board supremacy or. It's like,
It's the precedent, it holds the power to make decisions independently.
Okay,
from it.
great. I'm just making sure we don't have to like say anything.
for special elections, there's basically nothing said about it in like our bylaws or thing, so it's basically just up to the election board, I think. Make it come to, yeah.
Okay, wait.
Senator?
I have made.
Yeah.
Yes, yeah. Okay, so I put it all into one document and I will share it with the Senate right now. Thank you. Okay, and then, wait. I'll add that to the agenda. Senator Walla?
Does she have to motion it on, or you can just do that by yourself?
I didn't do it.
Lovely.
Okay, 'cause it's an action item. Wait, sorry, item. Should I just, no, wait, no, you do have to.
Yeah, she does. That was it,
Wait, wait. Should I just email it to you? Email it to the Senate.
Yeah.
And then questions to the executive director, so then we can make two motions.
No, the procedure of the two documents, yes.
Right.
So the third is a procedural or protocol.
Okay.
Three motions.
So, but Leah, I believe, is putting a document, or sorry, Senator Corsandy is putting a document all together. So, would I, or would the Senate make a motion for the, just like Senator Lala did for the winter election ballot language? And then to the one that she's going.
So two separate, would you, to the chair?
Yeah, of course.
Would you like me to say why?
Yeah, sure.
It might make more sense.
Uh-huh.
The ballot is a constructed document that you all have. It's one body, right? The supplement has yet to be finalized because it can be skewing.
Correct.
It explains a lot, it has pieces missing, but the supplement is independent of the ballot.
Okay.
So that's why it's too much.
Okay. Thank you for sending that. Senator Sandy.
Okay, motion to add winter special election ballot to the agenda.
There's been a motion to add winter special election ballot to the agenda. Is there a second? Seconded by Proxy Lucan.
Second. Yes.
Okay, well, now in discussion. Senator, what are you doing?
Call the question.
There's been a call to question. There's an objection to the call to question.
Consent.
Is there an objection to the consent? Seeing none, motion passes. Okay, that's been added to the agenda now. So my recommendation is, as executive director saying, was doing the, doing those motions two separately. One similar to the one Senator Lala made, and then one, that's directed towards this new, added piece to the agenda. To the ballot. And I'll be yielding my chairship back to the internal vice president. We just added this onto the agenda, but there's been no motions made with regards to it.
Period. All right, we're now moving into, winter special election ballot. Senator Sandy?
Motion to approve the winter special election ballot.
There's been a motion to approve the winter special election ballot. Do we have a second? Senator Wang?
Second.
Seconded by Senator Wang. We are now in discussion. Senator Brenderson?
Old question.
Question has been called. Do we have any objections?
Consent.
All right. Seeing none, motion passes. I still. I think it would be appropriate if we put this to a hand vote. So we are now moving into a hand vote. Hands up for yes, if you would like to approve the winter special election ballot. All right, no? Abstentions? All right, seeing none, motion passes. Yay, we're gonna have this.
We were there for this one.
The whole.
All of them, yeah. That's why I put the whole thing over here.
Yeah, it was under that, so.
I didn't know that was.
All right, we are now moving into the approval of the winter special election ballot language. Or disapproval. Alright, that was a very biased recommendation.
Thank you, Chair, for that.
Senator Presendi,
Motion to approve the winter special election ballot language.
there's been a motion to approve the special election, winter special election ballot language. Senator Gerson, seconded by Senator Gerson. We are now in discussion. Senator Wahidullah.
Other question?
Question has been called. Do we have any objections?
Consent.
Do we have any objections to the consent? All right, seeing none, motion passes. I don't think we should vote on that, it's fine. All right, now moving on to the next item under action items. Is the approval of Billy Wu's retroactive honoraria. Senator Butler,
Motion to approve Billy Wu's retroactive honoraria, spring 2023, fall 2023, summer 2023, spring 2024, fall 2023, spring 2024, summer 2024, and summer 2023.
and to clarify, the reason why we are repeating some of these is because Billy Wu held multiple positions.
That's correct.
All right. There's been a motion made to approve Billy Wu's retroactive honoraria for spring 2023, fall 2023, summer 2023, spring 2024, fall 2023, spring 2024, summer 2024, and summer 2023. Do we have a second? Senator Malhis?
Second.
Seconded by Senator Malhis. We are now in discussion. Senator Loa?
Call the question.
Question has been called. Do we have any objections? Seeing none, motion passes. This is relating to money, so I do think we should hand vote. So we are now moving into a hand vote. Hands up for yes to approve Billy Wu's request for retroactive honoraria. So that is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. All right, no. Abstentions? Where's the boy? All right, and with that, the motion passes, it is approved by the Senate. We are now
Chair,
moving,
It is,
yes, Senator Lala?
it is still pending a decision by the honorary committee, or it's now?
No, it passes.
Sure.
All right, so we are now moving into acceptance of the agenda. Senator Wang?
Can I ask a question?
Oh, wait, sorry. Yes, what was your question?
Should Billy Wu then apply for retroactive, or should, if he hasn't already?
We already confirmed that we will do that,
Okay.
because it is open now. Yes, Chair Henson?
There was one more motion that the executive director recommended that just allows elections board to edit the ballot language.
The ballot language that was just approved?
So you guys approved it and then it gets sent to us and then we,
Oh, for like future revision?
yes, because you
Okay.
guys do get the ultimate say next week. But it just allows us to revise and take any bias out and then send it to you.
All right,
With you. Yeah.
there's been a recommendation made by Chair Hansen. Senator Lola?
So you just need a motion from us directing you or allowing you the freedom to edit the ballot language, that's all.
Yes.
To revise.
Approved ballot language just allowing us to counsel.
All right, Senator Amin?
Motion to allow Chair Hansen edit privileges to the governor.
Would you like to amend your motion, because it is from our understanding that it is the elections board and not Chair Hansen solely?
I rescind my motion.
You rescind your motion? All right, Senator Lala?
Motion to allow the ASUCSB Elections Board permission to revise the winter special elections ballot language while maintaining the spirit of the authors.
Okay. There's been a motion to allow the elections board permission to revise the winter 2025 special elections ballot language while maintaining the spirit of the authors. That was the whole motion? Okay, period. Do we have a second, Senator Al-Khatib? Seconded by Senator Al-Khatib. We are now in discussion. Senator Butler? Yeah, true. Senator Lala?
It's a term in legal philosophy. It's the letter of the law and the spirit of the law. To maintain the spirit of the law. I'm answering a question. What's the problem?
Let's hold space for Senator Lala's explanation, please.
Okay, there's letter of the law in which you have to follow exactly what is dictated, have to try to, get out exactly what the author of whatever binding document meant, or the spirit of the law to understand what was meant by accomplishing it. So by requesting of the elections board to follow the spirit of the law is to maintain what the authors meant when we passed these amendments. That's all.
Yes, and also to clarify, this will still come back to the Senate for final approval. Just to clarify. Y'all, let's let Senator Lala theorize, like, okay, poli-sci degree come through.
History, actually.
Senator Butler?
So just like the general theme, overarching ideas and.
Yes. Okay, we're still in discussion, y'all. We can make motions if we want, if we really want. Senator Butler?
Call the question.
Question has been called. Do we have any objections? Do we have any objections to the consent? Right, okay. Motion passes. That was so dope. Yeah, moving into the acceptance of the agenda. Just letting y'all know, if you have anything to add to the agenda, please say so now before we motion to accept it. Right, Senator Butler?
Motion to accept the agenda.
There's been a motion to accept the agenda as is because she is perfect. Do we have a second? Senator Wayne?
Second.
Seconded by Senator Wayne. We're now discussion. Senator Whitehall?
Call the question.
Question has been called. Do we have any objections?
Consent.
Seeing none, motion passes. The agenda has now been accepted. Wow. Beautiful. Senator Butler?
Motion to adjourn the meeting at 10:08 p.m.
There's been a motion to adjourn at 10:08 p.m. Y'all, on midterms week, this is actually beautiful. Do we have a second? Senator Ganesh? Seconded by Senator Ganesh. We're now discussion, right? Senator Whitehall? Question has been called. Do we have any objections? Seeing none.
I think everyone.
You guys want any constitutional amendments on screen? It might be 9 approved here.
Thanks, Caleb.
Dude, in my global 130.